Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Bargain Bin, a show about speedrunning games all under $20. I'm your host, Midnight Vesper, and if you're new here, here's how this whole thing works. For more current/digital games, we'll be using digital stores like Steam, GOG, Itch.io, Ubisoft, etc. to look at the list/MSRP price. For retro games, we'll be using a wide assortment of price charting websites looking at the loose price of the game. We do not count any sales or discounts as they vary from time of purchase. Couple announcements for us real fast. Do not forget that GDQX is coming up really quickly. It's going to be at TwitchCon October 20th to the 22nd. It's going to be on the Games Done Quick stage as well as streamed live on this channel. So I can't wait for it. It's got a great stacked list. If you haven't seen the list yet, all you got to do is type in !GDQX in Twitch chat. It's going to be fantastic. Speaking of fantastic things like live events, Awesome Games Done Quick 2024 is going to be live and in person January 14th to the 21st in Pittsburgh, PA. Also, use !AGDQ in Twitch chat for more information. And hey, feel free to check us out on Twitter at Games Done Quick to let us know what you're hoping to see on the games list. So many great games there as well. And of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, don't worry. You still watch us. Hello, YouTube. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've lost my place in my script. That's what I'm talking about. If you're watching us on YouTube, hello. Please press the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, head on over to twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick if you're interested in looking at our live content. I found out where I am on the script, and that's talking about this show tonight here for the Bargain Bin. We got two great shows. Later on, we're going to be saving our favorite pizza place known as the Pepperino and Pizza Tower. But first, let's head on over to Islets, this great little game that I've actually never seen before, being showcased by Happy Buy 3. How are you doing today?
Thriving. All of my animals seem to know that I'm on camera and all wanted to be involved. None of them were here until we went live.
It's like everything's working out.
Right,
maybe that's why. Maybe they heard that. Maybe they heard that I intentionally lost my place in my scripting to figure out all of that, and they're like, "Hold on a second, let me give that support your way."
They got you. They got your back. All right.
Yes.
Well, if we are we good to just get going then? Because we've got plenty of time to talk about stuff during the run.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. So I'm going to anxiously. I can't. I forget once you're in select difficulty, you can't go back. So I'm probably in speedrun mode. Okay.
You
so
checked before, yeah.
time just starts when I press A, which I will do in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. So I'm Queen Snowfy, hello, by the way, on commentary, and this is Islets. Just because the start of the game is there's not too much going on, I'll give you a bit of background on what the game is about. You're a little mouse named Eco, who's one of many hundreds of adventurers who are out to try and bring these 5 islands back together. Once upon a time, they all floated apart, but then randomly came together one day, and it turned out that was really great for everyone when they were all attached, so they made these giant electromagnets in the cores of each island to keep them together. But for some reason, they broke apart again. So here we are trying to fix the magnets, bring them back, and restore the prosperity that we had in the past when they were all connected. You probably noticed already just by watching, in terms of mechanics, one of the big things in this game is this dodge roll that lets you sort of get through things without taking damage. It also just gives you a bit of a speed boost, so anytime we're on flat ground, we're going to be doing that. This type of little room here also makes up a large portion of the game where you have just a little challenge fighting a few enemies. If you've played this developer's other game, I know that went really,
nice to me
really smoothly.
warm-ups.
that longbird up there. I say longbird because Sheepo has established that is what these creatures are.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate than me calling it a goose. That's nothing.
What are geese if not longbirds, really?
Truly.
The developer's previous game featured a bird like that gave you the ability to fly. Also, you may notice during those little challenge rooms, if you've played that game, Sheepo, it uses the same music as the Sheepo boss fight music. And we're already done with our first boss now. This is kind of is a bit of a gimme. It's not too hard to get past. And we'll sort of see that the ability that we get is appropriate for that. A lot of games have you start out with a double jump already. You may have noticed that we didn't have one yet, but this is it. You'll barely be able to see because we're going to return to save so that we don't have to walk across that room on foot. And you're going to be seeing a lot of that in this run.
So that text went by so fast. Is it because I'm really, really good at mashing?
Yeah, so good. I'm really just one of the top mashers in the... No.
I mean, to be fair, I do run Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, so I am a button mashing simulator runner as well.
Thankfully, in this game, we have a speedrun mode that does two major things. One is the timer that you can see in the middle and the top of the screen there. We actually go by in-game time in this community, so we just have a bit of a standard timing method across any platforms that the game's on. And also, it enables that quick text skipping, so you do not have to mash through dialogue and little tutorial pop-ups. They just go brrr away on their own, which is a lifesaver.
Very nice. Yeah, we've even had things that there were certain speed tech that we were trying to incorporate that didn't quite work, and the developer was like, oh, well, I'll just make it so that if you're in speedrun mode, it works that way.
Yeah. Yeah, Kyle, the developer Kyle Thompson, who is the developer, done the programming, the design, the art, the everything except for the music, which was done by his brother Eric Thompson. He's very, very supportive and accommodating of the speedrun community, and we love him for it.
Yes.
Do you think that love came before like this or Sheepo, or do you think it came from when they were making the games and saw how the speedrunning community started really liking what they were doing with the game?
I'm not entirely sure. That would be a good question to ask sometime.
Yeah.
Be like, hey.
Was because like Sheepo had a couple really active, really like cool runners and a nice little small community that like really dug into the game. And yeah, I wonder if Kyle was like, ooh, these people rock. I'm going to take care of them in the next one. Or if he was kind of already ready to do that.
I mean, we definitely... I won't say that we had the expectation, but you know, we had the hopes that we would continue having the good relationship that we have had, which is how things worked out. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are approaching the fourth of four genres that this game decides to be, and I think does all of them well. So you've seen, you know, we obviously have, in terms of like how I can go faster, there's obviously some platforming and movement optimization, and then there's also combat, and we have both like the boss fights. Boss fights are a little bit tougher, a little bit Souls light, versus like the arena battles, which are pretty straightforward and not quite as challenging. And then we also have Toho, because 3 genres was not enough. So you'll notice when I go into this boss, this little pink circle appears in the middle of my character model. That is literally a mechanic taken from the Toho series of Bullet Heaven games, where the circle is your hitbox instead of your actual animation. But we don't have any way to do damage. Our dinky little airship right there can only fly around. Luckily, the Sky Pirates attack with a boomerang, and they're not very good at catching the boomerang. So every time they throw it at us, it goes back and does 100 damage to their ship. If it hits us, it only does 6.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. They really need to like put some better armor on their ship, I guess. I don't know why it's so weak, but works for me.
There's also a place where if you were playing on different difficulties, things would be a bit different. We play on easy, not because there's no reason to play on any other difficulty, but it is the fastest. You can play on hard or normal, and we have separate subcategories for that on our leaderboards. But what that will do is sort of make the boss attack patterns more complex and their health a bit higher. So won't just be done in 3 hits like he was here.
Yes.
So I have to ask,
And some of those later cycles are much more complicated too.
yeah, because I've always wondered when you get to those type of games, is it like, I guess, how hard is it to mentally kind of know that you have to be within like fractions of a pixel in some cases to make sure you don't accidentally get hit?
Luckily, not too much of a.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever messed up this room before. It's such an easy room.
It's okay. I talk about damage and damage. It's okay, you know?
Yeah.
I was just proving
those,
a point.
Those pixels, the fractions of pixels.
It's usually not a huge issue in easy, at least. There's not a lot of the like bullet heaven sections where we are like by the skin of our teeth. Although it does sometimes happen, like on the final boss, sometimes we get close.
Tighter.
It's more.
Ooh.
Try to take that jump too tight. Just do it the safe way. It's more that, as you'll see later, we get the ability to deal damage to those enemies in the sky rather than just dodging. And the way that mechanic is built makes us have to be really dangerous in all those fights. And I guess to answer the original question, stressful.
One thing we haven't mentioned yet is, first of all, the currency here, which I also forgot to fact check the exact
To double
name
check what it's called.
We've been calling it Spirit, and I think that. Oh my gosh, I was afraid you were gonna get stuck there for a second.
I was a little bit too afraid. Vertically moving platforms can soft lock you sometimes when you get tripped in them like that. So that was maybe a little risky to jump through there, but it all worked out.
But yeah, part of our goal is we're collecting a bunch of that currency so that you can get through those doors like that, but also buy a really important upgrade later.
Yes.
And the other thing is you've noticed them collecting these little like stickers of Eco's face, and those are optional upgrades. They're not like ability unlocks or anything required. They just sort of like give you perks that improve either your damage output or the number of arrows you can carry, things like that. In a casual playthrough, that would be completely random. The sort of sequence of upgrades that are available is based on a seed that is decided each time you start a new file. Thankfully, what Kyle did for us in speedrun mode was set it to a fixed seed, so it's the same every time. It does change depending, like there are different paths depending on which options you take in what order, but if you take the same options every time, then you'll get the same upgrades every time, which is...
and we have those mapped out.
Yeah, lovely to not have to think about.
Yes, it's really nice. So to talk a little more about the difficulty options as well, you might notice a lot of times I'm just sort of ramming my head into spikes. That is largely because this is the easy route, and so I can take multiple hits from spikes and enemies before dying. So there's a lot of splits where we will take intended damage until we are basically at 1 health, which means that despite being easy, it ends up being a very unforgiving category in a few sections. Luckily, there's safety strats we can do, there's backup strats. So for beginners learning, there's easier ways to do it. But if you're going for PB attempts, there are segments where one bit of damage that is not intended is a run killer.
You're sort of trading off the, like, you've made it easier technically by selecting the easier difficulty, but you've chosen to make it harder on yourself.
By trying to go fast.
Yeah.
Because often the fastest way through is just, if it doesn't kill you,
Face tank the damage.
then technically it's faster.
There are sequences
Speedrun
like
logic,
this
right?
as well.
Yeah.
In this particular sort of path that we're on right now, you want to take as little damage as possible, because the optimal way to get through to the boss at the end of this section is to not save at all. You may have noticed the save that Happy took in the sort of orange section above here is the last one that's been touched. And the reason for that is, thankfully,
I'm not going to take that one.
Yeah.
Yes, going into this boss with enough health that I can... If I was at 1 or 2 health, I would have to be crazy careful during this segment and not take any damage from this, which obviously would make this kind of RNG, a change to my time based on RNG, right? If the boss decides to do that attack, then all I can do is stand there. But luckily, with a little damage to spare, I can try to damage without getting hurt, but if I do get hurt, it's not a big deal.
Not the end of the world.
No.
And the reason for wanting to have that save be the last one that you've taken is when you get the ability at the end, sort of like we did with the first one, the double jump, you'll be able to return to save. Basically, what those abilities do is it sets the flag that says that you've gotten the ability before it sets the flag saying this is your like checkpoint room. This is where you've last saved. So as long as you pause and return to save before you complete that dialogue, you just go back to the last place that you actively saved, or the last ability that you completed the dialogue for. We'll see that later as well.
I thought that was the last hit.
Yeah. You'll see there's a lot of these sort of like bullet hell light sections in the boss fights as well. They're just not the same sort of move your ship around in the air kind of things, but a lot of the just here's a barrage of projectiles that you have to line yourself up perfectly to not get hit by.
Yes. And luckily on easy, those are very reliable, and they kind of do the same thing every time, and you can plan for the different patterns. We are not that lucky on normal or hard. One of the more popular categories of this game is the boss rush category. There is a built-in boss rush that is also timed with the speedrun timer. And the hard boss rush is infinitely harder than easy, because easy is, pretty much the same patterns in the same order, and you can kind of rely on memory and learning the patterns, whereas hard is like you have to dodge all of the bullets by reaction alone.
Yeah.
But if that's your sort of thing, it's available, which I think is nice. That like you're not stuck with only one way to play.
Yeah.
Why am I going so slow?
To say the
what am I doing? I'm just like casually walking.
It's just a stroll in the dangerous.
All right, I'm gonna go slow here because these are the vertical platforms where I have soft locked most often. Like I said earlier, vertical platforms sometimes soft lock you in this game. I went too fast there and I took damage.
But we gotta save.
Yes.
There's actually a lot of places in this game where technically the optimal thing to do is not go as fast as possible, because
Did you see that guy trying to leave the arena?
Yeah.
What was that? What's your story, bud? Okay, am I gonna get one? No! Heartbreaking. I'm gonna try on every single platform. It's gonna lose me time, but I'm trying.
that can launch you straight up into the air. It's a pretty dramatic, but it's also the timing for it is a little funny, and
really tight.
Yeah. Oh, you scared me.
Yeah, I saw the danger coming and was like, nope, no.
Yep. And we still haven't specifically mentioned the upgrade that we got from that boss, the Tomb of 1,000 Spirits, was a slam attack. So not only do we now have a way to move down quicker than just falling, but there's an attack that does a bit of damage in an area around where you
It's like the worst place for him to be.
Yeah,
Can you not?
And these little breakable rock things that you see everywhere can actually be destroyed in one hit with a slam attack rather than 3 with, your usual just stab.
Slam attack is very helpful in very many ways. Like you said, it can break those in 1, which is obviously better. I'm gonna get one. Maybe this one. Haha. No.
The inputs for those is like roll, jump, attack really quickly, but you have to make sure that you don't hold attack, but you do want to hold jump, and it's just a little awkward.
It's very precise. All right, so we are on to the best sound design in modern video gaming.
If anybody's played Sheepo, it gives me Slime Queen vibes. You'll also notice, there's up in the corner of...
I just learned that this morning.
Yep. I was looking through our Discord server just for like, hey, is there anything that I forgot that I need to mention? And I saw that and went, oh yeah, we'd forgotten about that. So, yeah, it's a very cute game with a very cool speedrun, I think, but we have a pretty quiet community at the moment, so if anybody wants to like come in and cause
I didn't get any of the bad
then...
cycle. I didn't want to jinx it by saying it before it ended, but I didn't get any of the bad cycle.
There's a cycle that happens where the boss just does not come on screen, and instead 2 rollers with spikes come in from the sides, and it really sucks whenever that happens. But somehow you got through without it. But yeah, that boss.
Cool.
Yeah, he didn't guard an ability, but a magnet, one of the magnets I mentioned at the very start that our goal is to activate. So now we're going to be going, I do that every time too, by the way.
Every time.
I think like, okay, time to go left. No,
time to go left. No.
But now we're going back to the first island that we were on so that we can activate the magnet there and pull them together. And you'll see what happens once they are both connected. Yeah, it definitely changes things up a bit. Also, I want to say, play this game casually.
Yeah.
We're skipping through all of the like the dialogue and the character that it has. It's hilarious. It's like the entire sequence in the sort of tomb ruins area is incredible. Play this game.
Yeah, that's one thing that's always hard to identify when it comes to speedruns. I love games that have that like unique flavor in their plot and in the dialogue.
What you doing, bud?
It's so funny.
Yeah,
this game's so funny and so cute and like wholesome, especially for a Metroidvania. Like really wholesome, and just I adored this game. And like for context on how much game you're not having spoiled for you, I think we collect 9 upgrades in the any percent, maybe a few more.
I think it might be 10 or 11. It's not
like,
much more than 10, and there's like 100 or something.
Around like between 9 and 11, and there are 60 in the game.
60, there we go, yep.
So like, wow. There's a lot of rooms we're not going to and a lot of puzzles we aren't showing you, and
There's going to be 4 bosses that we don't fight. So if you play this game casually, you won't just have had everything spoiled for you. There is content that just does not get touched.
Yeah, we sequence break our way past 4 bosses.
Also, this is another section where just not taking any saves because it's fastest to return to that save that we were at earlier that's right next to the teleporter. So just gotta be careful going through to not take too much damage. It helps that there's that upgrade partway through because the upgrades will fill your health back up, but they don't set a checkpoint the same way other saves do. And yeah. But yeah, you see sometimes we're walking past these little like characters walking around. All of them have stuff to say. Aw, yeah, this cycle is so tight.
You can get on that first platform on its first cycle, but it's so tight that as soon as I bonked that first, I messed it up. As soon as I bonked that first thing, I knew I had missed it. Like, it's tight enough that even touching the wall on my way up was like, nah, well, no dice.
So I do have to wonder, the timer at the very top there. I assume that's close to what we would traditionally use for the speedrun timer. Is that RTA? Does it stop during cutscenes if there are any cutscenes, or is it just constantly going throughout everything?
So it's basically RTA minus any negligible amount of load time. So the game preloads pretty much everything, so there's not much. Oh, sorry, I just bonked my microphones. There's not much to remove, but it has been accounted for by the developer.
Yeah. I think world record right now is 1 second different from his RTA live split to the in-game. Like, very negligible loads. This game is shockingly well optimized. Like, it's a pretty big game, but it's like half a gigabyte.
Wow.
Yeah, we're approaching.
Don't save. Okay. I have a bad habit of taking that save, so.
And then you're just here.
And you're just sort of stuck.
This is our buried beast, which guards the magnet for this island. Sort of the same deal as most of the other boss fights. You just kind of... The most challenging thing with all the bosses is that, I mean, to go fast, obviously, number one thing is DPS. Just always be dealing damage as much as possible. But avoiding some of these attacks while doing that is... can be difficult. Honestly, I think of all of the bosses, this one is one of the less insane ones for that. It's I guess it's fair because it is on the first island. But
it's early.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but the squiggly little arms with the eyes being as beady as they are, it's just so adorable.
Oh, well, great news. That looks very similar to the character you play as in Kyle's next game. So I skipped this one, right? Okay, yes. Yeah. Triple checking I skipped that one before I break something.
Speaking of skipping those, that's a funny thing. Right at the start of when this game came out, when we were all playing around trying to break it, it was actually a soft lock if you did a return to save after activating a magnet. If you didn't watch the cutscene, then you just could not continue playing. And we mentioned that, and the developer was like, oh yeah, that's because of this funny thing that I'm gonna fix in the next patch. And it was fixed after that. So thankfully we get to skip all those cutscenes and also return to the place where we last saved. And basically, moral of the story, Kyle is amazing again.
Yes. Right there I took 1 unintended damage, and this is the boss at the end of the split is really tough, so I'm gonna let Snow Pea wax poetic and do a little bit of focus time to make sure I have enough health going into the boss.
Yeah, this is like there's a lot of sections in the game that you have to be careful about how much damage you take, but this one is really routed out carefully, so there's like a few spots where that's not one of them, unfortunately.
That was bad.
We'll see how it goes.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be super cool.
But yeah, you just you have to be really careful because sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Just like worrying about it.
Ooh, that was scary.
Okay, it's okay.
I know. Okay, we made it to the boss room
because there isn't a save right before. So okay, so this is I've lost track of the numbers, but Tour Frog, the next boss, who
all right, cool.
Who's been eaten by the spirits that we released from the Tomb of 1,000 Spirits, and that went better than expected, actually, didn't it?
Confirmed hardest boss in the run.
There is actually like one little tricky thing there is if you get impatient and you open those doors too early, then you can just bounce back out, and it's really annoying. But yeah. probably the most impactful upgrade of the game now is the wall climb. Now we can move vertically as much as we want, and it's not a wall jump. It is just a straight up climb up the wall. Just hold jump and you'll climb. Mash it and you'll climb faster. I think the developer was intending to have a way to remove the need to mash to go faster, but we didn't really play test it, and I think it hasn't been working in the latest patch, but we'll talk about it later. I like to think that the reason why Kyle
the movement through there's so much fun.
I know.
It's so fun.
The reason why I put in a wall climb is because the last game, Sheepo, was completely broken by the unintended ability to infinitely climb walls. So in this game, it's been built in.
Just build it in.
It's
yep.
planned for. I mean, I don't have confirmation that is the
Can't
reasoning.
break my
but
game if I break it for you.
That's what I choose to believe. It's also just really fun. Like it feels really good to use.
It feels so
and
good.
You'll notice at the top of everyone, Happy's doing like a little roll off the top because that's a sort of little optimization. Because if you just let yourself climb up the top normally, you'll have a bit of air time where you're just kind of floating. But the roll right at the end of it cancels that, and it feels really, really good to pull off.
It feels so good. The movement in this game seriously is ridiculous. I can't believe it was all programmed by one person. Like, it feels phenomenal. And it's just like, it's so rewarding and so much fun to do. And one of the things I love about the speedrun specifically is how much precision there is, where like, you can get through most splits without dying. Like if you're a beginner, your movement's not going to be optimal, but that doesn't mean you're like doing hundreds of deaths, right? It's not like a Celeste kind of like precision platformer. But at the top level of it, what is possible for how much time we can save from optimal movement is ridiculous. Like down to how long you hold the jump button to really precisely land on platforms with like as little airtime as possible is like meaningful. If you do it consistently throughout the run, it saves enough time to be really valuable. There's a complexity to the movement that I really appreciate.
For sure. It's just like the
Speaking
exact
of
right
mechanics
amount
we
of momentum.
appreciate.
Yeah.
It's our favorite mechanic.
Yeah. Wait, you mean the one that upgraded your ship?
Yeah, it's a gun.
Anyway, there's a gun on the ship now, so we can actually fight back against these bosses. But both of us are a huge fan of the way that it works, because it's this extremely simple sort of risk and return mechanic where the closer you are to your target, the faster the gun shoots, so the more damage you deal. So you're sort of incentivized to stay as close as possible, which is dangerous, to do as much damage as you can. But like you could play it safe, but then the boss fight would become longer, which is its own sort of risk. And I don't know. It's just it's a really simple but well thought out.
You may have noticed there's a safe spot on this cycle.
This cycle, you
where
just
I can
kind of
just
stay there and you're good.
Yeah. And it's a very forgiving safe spot too. Like.
Now, are you controlling the gun there, or are you?
No, it automatically fires towards whatever it needs to hit.
Yeah, you just hold the button, and the thing you control is your position, which therefore controls how much, damage is coming out.
Yeah.
All right. Not talking to those two, even though the best character in the game was there, but
Yeah, our good boy.
And there's a mechanic that we're only going to see once in that room, but there is more of it in the game. It's just we won't be touching it. Also, here's a bunny with a garden. You saw the 500-foot tall flower. Don't bother measuring it. That would ruin its mystery. The flower disguised as a rock, and the leaf with a happy face on it to make it more approachable.
Yeah.
This is sort of the start of our major sequence break.
Yes, we're now getting into this wasn't really what Kyle had in mind territory. What? Oh well.
Yeah, well, okay, the one that you're
The important one is over. So I must have nudged my joystick or something. Took the wrong upgrade there. So as
Things
we
will be a
mentioned, it's
little
on a set
different.
seed.
Yeah.
So we do the upgrades in a specific order based on that seed to get particular upgrades. What is happening? There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
So now I'm off the upgrade cycle, and I don't know what comes
You'll
next.
still get wall climb and the slam attack thing at the same time, I think. I think there's a few upgrades that are pretty much like set. They will always be an option at a certain
Yeah, the problem is
upgrades, but we'll see.
the problem is you're gonna have to help me because I don't know which ones I'm actually supposed to take. I just know that you mash the first slot the whole time. It's just always the first slot.
I think I have it written down. Let me take a look.
I'm gonna do a safety save here. This is a really dangerous split, and I had already taken a lot of damage. Yeah,
the
so
shrine
here,
shifter, the thing that you bought from that place that we were saving up 900 currency for,
that let me do that.
The ability to teleport from save shrines. So you can't teleport to them, but now if you're at one, you can teleport to any of those sort of portal doors around. Yeah, I'm checking here.
Oh, you're checking the upgrade list doc. Oh, appreciate you. You're the best.
While that's happening, I do have a question that I just now have noticed. Okay, I didn't know if it was the right time, but I'm watching on a little bit of a smaller screen, so certain details and certain things, like I'm not necessarily seeing. But is it just me, or does the main character look a little bit like Finn from Adventure Time?
He's got a little Finn energy.
You know what?
A little Finnergy.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I don't like how much damage I took in there.
This section is one of those scary ones where you try to take as little as possible because there's
not in like the ironic way like the tour guide. This one's actually hard.
Yeah, no, for real. There's some hazards coming up that are like near impossible. So there's a reason why these seem, well, how are you supposed to get past that without taking damage? The answer is we skipped the ability to. Our sequence broke because we did that thing with the spikes that you're going to see happen again here.
So right here we're supposed to use a ability called Cloud Shot.
Shoot an arrow. Yeah, you shoot an arrow that leaves a cloud trail behind that you can walk on, and it's really cool, but it's not necessary to complete the game with this route, so we don't get to show it off. But yeah, that's why you see all these really big gaps that seem kind of unreasonable, or obstacles that seem like there's no way around them, is because we don't have the way around, because we're bad.
We're not doing the intended order of things. Yeah, so...
Also, I checked the
this
upgrades.
Sequence is not quite so ridiculous in casual playthrough at all.
No, definitely not. The upgrade that you got last, I think it was the arrow fire rate when it would have normally been a health increase. The next one says it should be arrow fire rate, but it might be changed,
also making this segment harder is that I'm lower health than we normally would be here. I didn't even think of that. And I got hit by that one. Oh my god. Oh! We are struggling. We're gonna do the safe route here. Normally, if you have enough health left, you can kind of climb up there and just take one damage, but we need to do the safe version. Because, normally I'd have one more hit before death here.
Oh yeah, so it's the last upgrade that's climb speed, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be the same every time, because that's just like a set upgrade, not one of the random, like, health damage, whatever perks.
All right, so we'll get back on track, kinda. We'll be fine.
Should be. Those little guys that roll around can be so stressful when you're at low health because their movement feels so random sometimes.
Okay. We get health from
we have
this,
a
so
health
we're good
increase,
now.
hopefully?
That's the scary part. Oh, I didn't even check. I just mashed one
no.
because that's what I'm
Oh,
used
no.
to doing. Dang it. All right.
Well, we got
no.
a health refill from it, so there's that at
yes,
least.
that's the part I was worried about. But
Yeah.
can I get
And now
through
we
this
have
section with lower health? Time to find out.
Yep.
I
A
believe.
little bit of a chase sequence
Ugh, certainly
here,
not if I take
followed
more
by
damage
the-
than usual.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cool. Are there any?
Chill for a moment.
I'm trying to think where there's a I can get a spare upgrade coming up, if anywhere.
Check the map. The map isn't great because it tells you where the upgrades are, but it doesn't tell you if there's like a 2-minute puzzle to do
I
to get
think
to
we're
them.
good. I don't think there's any more required damage through this segment, right? No, we're good. Do I have 100? No, I don't. I had to check my spirit
Yes.
there because we have to spend 100 in a minute, and there's an easy place to fill right there. Okay, we survived despite my
Oh yeah.
stupid muscle memory. Oh, but then we
This
do
is
my
one of the
favorite
cooler
trick.
tricks. Yeah. So jumping over this, because you may have seen that there was one of those teleporter doors in the room below. Just dipping into that gives us access to that door for later, but then we can return to save like
It's
we always
already time
do.
for BLJ.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna borrow an ability from an earlier area here, these super jumps that we didn't really talk much about because they're only in that one area until now when we bring them over here. And that allows us to get up here without fighting the boss that was to the left of that save to get the shift shot ability, which allows you to shoot a special arrow that just teleports you a short distance away. It can be pretty broken.
Yeah!
You got it!
Nice.
That's what it looks like
There
when
we
you get
go.
that.
Yeah.
It's a little absurd.
Yeah. And that ability, there's a few places in the game where basically they're just gated off by that ability. You can't get through unless you use it, which I think is coming up. Can't remember exactly where the next one is, but we'll see soon. Now that we have these islands connected, though, we can go through here to fight the next boss that gives...
Can you save,
It's
sir?
the next boss that gives another movement ability or attack ability. It's going to be a charge attack, which will be relevant a little bit later. Yeah, this is the first of a sort of series of rooms with this those
Can you-
projectiles that just stay there forever.
So
Were you
unlucky.
writing that? Hold on, wait.
Yeah. There's those enemies shoot these things that just keep going the length of the screen. The enemies really do get
My heart tells me
scarier
there's
and
an upgrade
scarier.
like somewhere near here, but I can't think where. That's not the one where I'm supposed to take. So
in this area.
gonna go a little slow
no.
there. There's a little safety strat there since I have less health than a normal run.
Yeah, dodging all of the ranged attacks and stuff of the enemies gets harder and harder as time goes on.
It's a little scary in these later levels for sure. Okay, you
take a
didn't see
drink
us. We're
for a moment.
safe.
Yeah, when the robot sees you, it's over. So
It's all ogre. Yeah. God, could you imagine?
Yeah,
It's
that was a-
completely RNG if you just have to fight Roguebot there. That'd be terrible.
as a sort of preview of the boss that is coming up, which is it's used to be a trash cleaner upper robot, but now it's started cleaning up adventurers instead. Also, we've made it through the scary part, got the teleporter there, and did the reason why you return to save there is because it just takes a moment for the door to open, but it's open immediately if you return to save.
So you don't have to wait for the animation of the door opening. You can just walk on through.
Yeah. Yep, and these this sort of layout where you have a door in the way that causes you to do this like really vertical section going up and then back down to unlock the door is something that shows up a few times in these later levels. So you'll see that a couple more times. There's a way to skip some of them.
This boss is very
ship
scary
shot.
with 3 less health than I'm used to.
Yeah, some of these attacks, particularly at the end when you're trying to keep doing damage, but it's doing that little attack where it just like spits out a random barrage. Yeah.
3 damage that I didn't need to take. Instead of there's one cycle where it's like very hard to avoid, so I usually just sort of suck it up and take damage on that cycle. But that's assuming I actually dodge all the other ones.
Yeah.
It's this one, so now I have to be crazy
one,
careful here. Whoa.
Yeah, that's what gets me when the when that cycle with the stuff coming out at the very center of the room is happening and the eye lasers go. I just lose it. Yeah.
That was scary.
Oh,
Just gonna shut up for a moment. Like, you have a dodge roll, which prevents damage from happening, of course, but there is a bit of a cooldown. Made it!
Oh,
okay.
wow, nice job.
Okay. Whew. We survived.
Nice.
That got a little scary for a second.
Yeah, a little bit. Now we have the charge attack, which is going to be relevant in a few contexts. Oh yeah, harder than the boss maybe coming up is a trick. We've sort of been doing this. I don't know, when we started finding things, we were calling it Islets. These tricks where you just try to climb and get over a.
Okay, I'm not mashing on this
hump
upgrade.
like this.
No mashing.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna see what it is. Health, hopefully. There's no health. I'd say do the melee damage.
No.
Yeah, melee is what I would usually get here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, first try.
Let's try.
Nice.
Let's go.
GG.
That is
such a hard
probably
trick.
the hardest version of that. There's several different iterations of the same sort of genre of trick, but that's the trickiest. And here is the first application of the charge attack. Not the intended application. It's letting us skip all of the section above there, but because you can hit that block just at the right spot through there. You don't have to do any of it. I think it'll be a while till we see the actual purpose for the charge attack, which is these blocks that you can't break any other way.
I think the only one we break is like the pits, and then the one leading into the boss. Just being super safe through there because I don't have the amount of health I'm used to. Why do I feel like there's an upgrade opportunity soon? Trying to think what's coming up. Oh, you have a literal map. That's probably
I have a map
more useful
open.
than me just like praying.
I don't see one in this area. This is also sort of similar to what we did after the first magnet connection, is just going and grabbing ship parts, because there are these areas that are completely isolated from the rest of the map until you connect the two islands together. Excuse me. Sorry, hiccups all the time. And they are where you'll find those like gears and things to upgrade the ship. So here's another one. Where do you go from here?
Tomb Ruins twice. Both directions of Tomb Ruins.
Yeah, right. Tomb.
I might pass one soon, actually. It's a little out of the way, but I think I passed one going through here. Not out of the way enough to be like bad though. Like right here, this room is one.
Yeah, this one. This should work. It's
What do I
not
care
the
if I take
worst.
damage? I'm about to get an upgrade.
You're about to, yeah.
Why am I all worried about taking damage? More damage.
Still no
more
health. Ugh.
All right, well,
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
It's
Maybe, probably.
It's being very cruel.
You know?
Hopefully, yeah.
Would it be would it be a run at an event if some wild thing didn't happen? That's just how events are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here, we're coming up on that sort of mini boss. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, this guy. Maybe I'll take this opportunity to mention that this is the restricted sort of subcategory of any percent, so it's not truly beat it as fast as possible by any means. There are a few tricks that we've said, hey, some people don't want to play the game this way. So one of them being, I mentioned save displacement earlier. Each time you go through a screen transition, the game saves your velocity, I guess I'd call it, because it's the speed and the direction that you're moving in. And you'll notice right there how when you return to save, you sort of pop out of it in the same direction that you were moving last through. So because you went left, you popped out to the left. Save displacement involves just pausing and returning to save over and over and over and over and over and over again, and slowly moving inch by inch just to wherever you need to go. So, for example,
that would have been too far out of the way.
We get you can get.
Plus, I get one right here normally.
Yeah, you can get the climb upgrade. Oh yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, this one is always going to be climb speed, I think.
Okay.
So you'll have to look for another one.
Oh,
I think you
goodness.
could get there's the one behind the lever going up to the stone witch, I think.
Yeah, the one I usually
That's a pretty
skip
quick
that
one.
Swaggo always gets. That's a quick
Yeah.
one for sure. Yeah, and hopefully that'll be it.
But yeah, so the ability to climb, as you saw, we didn't get until quite a ways through, but you would be getting that on your first visit to this section if you were using save displacement, because you can just kind of float, but it's also a little bit headache inducing, so that's not allowed and restricted.
And when you are doing save displacement, when you're doing the save displacement, you don't trigger bosses. So you can just use it to kind of go through a boss room without the fight.
Yeah.
Here we're going to sequence break a lot.
Yeah, so that just then was why did you just walk into that room and return to save? There was a teleporter there, and this is an island that we have not activated the magnet for. In fact, if you went to activate the magnet now, you would soft-lock the game, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Oh gosh, we don't
Which
want
I
that.
did to
Yeah,
myself
so won't do that.
in
That's okay.
when I
We're
was
not
trying to
going
route
anywhere
out
near that.
Hundo.
Yeah.
Up there was probably an
because-
upgrade. Oh well. Just trying to keep an eye out and remember ones that I can actually get.
The island that had the plant boss that you didn't see because we didn't fight. That one is supposed to be connected after this one, because this is where you get the cloud shot ability that we mentioned before. You're supposed to go here and then go back there to get the magnet to connect things up. Because we did that one first, the game basically says, well, there's no way you could have done that without already being here, right? So this one also becomes connected, which is very useful for us in a speed run.
They look fast.
Basically what?
Die?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
They're
we're
like
able
little
to,
mini versions of the boss coming up.
That might be an upgrade to the left there. Oh well. Let's go. That one's pretty tight too. It's not as bad as the one we talked about earlier, but it is a little tight. Is there anything if I go up here?
I am trying to see where you... that was that save. I think up from this room has one, but it looks like it might be a long one. Maybe... It has been a minute since...
Oh, no, it's just to kill this
Oh,
enemy.
maybe it's just this guy? Yeah. All right.
I can do that.
The
Get over
room
here.
looked really big. There might be another. Oh my god, there's more, yeah.
Well,
The life
We're doing
of
it live.
only doing any percent and having no idea.
Hey, these things happen though, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
100%
always important to
runs
understand
soon.
backup strats.
It wasn't
Yeah.
that long.
Come
It
on,
was
help. Come on, help.
fine.
Oh my god, that's so cruel. I wonder, yeah.
There is one more that we like basically get on the route, like it's barely out of the
Yeah.
way. So I'm optimistic that one will be health, and then that'll get us back on track. There's a lot more damage through that area than I want
Yeah.
to take.
These guys are really annoying.
It's really precise going through there, and it's like if you're
on,
on
like,
if you're on it,
patterns.
it's super easy, and as soon as you get one pixel off of what you're used to, you're like, I don't know how to get back, and I'm just gonna take 1,000,000 damage now.
You'll also notice that in like almost every one of these rooms, we're like charging up that charge attack now because, I mean, when you have time to, there's no reason not to. And this is the upgrade that we mentioned.
on,
that's
be
behind
cool.
the door here.
Be nice, be nice, be nice.
Game.
Ugh.
Alright.
Okay.
I do know one other one. I do know one other one we can get that's not out of the way though. In the pits. So we can at least try to get the health before the final boss.
It looks like there's one to, I don't know. There's one in the room with the fan apparently.
Oh,
After the
okay,
witch.
cool. Well,
I
then
don't
let's-
know how you get it, but I see
It might
the
be like
icon.
cloud only
I
or
guess we'll
something,
see.
but can't hurt to try.
Uh-huh.
Luckily, I practiced
Yeah.
Stonewitch a lot this week, so
Nice.
less health on her is not as scary as it would have been a few days ago.
Oh yeah, something that we haven't mentioned is the slam attack. Another really good thing about it is that it gives you pretty generous iframes, just both when you start to go down and when you hit the ground, which is why during that phase where the little rock thing slides back and forth, you just do slam attacks over and over again, because it gives you enough time to not have to worry about dodging it.
I will say the boss is festive
Just
for
like
the time
staring.
period.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to beat her before this phase.
Okay, so there is theoretically one in the next room.
Yeah, I just don't know where. Which is, it's good that this is one of the upgrades that we don't return to save for, because there's a teleporter right here. But
Where? What?
oh, it's down. But how? Do you see the little symbol?
Oh.
I don't remember. Can you just like?
Yeah, you just
There
slam.
we go.
You just slam attack there. Cool. That's very good to know. Health.
Hey!
Did
We've
it?
got health, everybody. Okay, what do I do
did it.
now?
Oh
Defender
my
unit,
God,
3 to
route,
left.
so
Okay.
much. Yes.
Route
yeah.
defender unit. We gotta get
so
one
now-
more upgrade for our airship.
Yep, the final upgrade, which gives you a really interesting ability with the ship, actually, where you can sort of do a short distance teleport in any direction, and the next boss fight really makes use of that. You get these patterns you'll see soon that you would not normally be able to dodge because it's just a solid line like that of bullets. But because of this teleport, you'll see how it goes. I really enjoyed this fight casually.
This boss is so much fun.
Yeah. Also, I think he might be related.
Goes through
to,
his Dalek era.
Daleks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like now you have a dodge roll, but in the ship, and it's
Yeah.
very satisfying. And I will.
Like we mentioned, I'm trying to stay super close to the center to maximize. Jumped a little too far there. Trying to stay as close to the defender unit as we can, while also not getting hit by the stuff that is spawning from the center of the defender unit.
Yeah, which is especially tricky on this one, just because it comes out from all angles.
All right, we are good.
Yeah.
Nice.
That is the last airship boss of the. We did 3. Yes, there's one that we skipped completely again because
You
we
will
didn't
get
have
a
to go
small
to-
snippet of it later.
Yeah, true. And this is the block that I mentioned that you have to have charge attack to break. And here's the magnet on this island, and you notice the sort of freaky looking statues behind it. Can't explain that in detail really, but those are the great beasts that are the reason the islands broke apart in the first place, essentially. And so we'll be going to defeat each of them now to bring things back together for good.
Yeah, so things are getting a little creepier because we are firmly entering endgame
This is
territory.
endgame. Yep. Should also mention, what should I mention? I had an idea a moment ago, and then it left me.
And it's gone.
That happens
Yeah.
all the time with me. So
I was
get
like,
that.
okay, I'm talking about this,
What?
and this is
Can
next
you,
in the queue.
sir, can you fall down?
That was. I'm sure it'll come back to me.
You'll
This
wake
is-
up in the
Yeah.
middle of the night and go, oh yeah, that.
That's
Absolutely.
The
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
This is very much a split where all of our intended damage puts us very close to death. So the unintentional damage needs to be
Yeah.
minimal.
I remembered what it
Because-
was.
What's up?
I remember it was the last return to save didn't actually take you to a save shrine. It went to where you picked up the fan motor for the ship instead.
Oh, yes.
Which is just an example of what happens if you don't return to save after doing one of those things. It does set a checkpoint there. So, and in that case, it's very conveniently right next to a teleporter. And yeah, there's a lot of places here where you can tell, okay,
Nope.
yeah, we were really supposed to have the cloud shot here. But because we don't, you just have to tank the damage.
I think I'm all right because this is here. Yep.
Yeah.
Save and quit there kind of does double duty. Lets us skip the animation of that door opening and it heals. So
Yep.
that you can tank a bunch of damage in the first half of this area and then tank a bunch
Yeah.
more damage in this second half.
Yeah, and this is again that sort of pattern I mentioned where you have just like a loop that you have to do from above and then come back down. I think
Why are you not dead? Why did you damage me? Old jerk.
I don't know if it is an easy to get one or where it would be, but there is an upgrade in one of these rooms. I think it's not worth bothering about though because you have plenty of health.
Yeah,
at
health
this
is the one I
point.
was worried about because
Yeah.
I think we're one upgrade ahead now because we got the
Yeah.
climb speed and then health. There's this
I
nice
love
little
this
spot
guy.
here where we can
Yeah.
just not take damage. Pretty cool of him.
Yeah, it's very nice. And then you come back down, and now you've opened your doors. And we're coming up on the first of the 3 beasts, Bone Golem, who does have a phase that's a little spoodery if there's any like seriously bothered by arachnid imagery people
Yes.
around. It's this is the part of the game where it's like, okay, things are kind of creepy.
Yeah,
Someone
that
mentioned that it
face.
makes them think of Adventure Time, and I'm like, yeah, it does kind of have that like, oh, this is so cute and wholesome, but also what?
Until it's not?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
I
face
can
on this
definitely agree.
boss here, like I was saying a second ago, it's yeah, that's not
yeah,
I'm gonna have trouble sleeping tonight.
gonna haunt you. Yeah,
As promised, the spider face.
yeah, yeah. And there's one of these phases here. You've seen the spikes that go across the screen. Thankfully, there is a safe spot where you can stand, but the intention, I believe, is to have you use your cloud shot ability to create platforms that let you just stand.
No more legs.
higher than
Now it's just the middle part of the spider.
Yeah. And in these
Honestly,
bosses
the
where they
least
have,
creepy part of the spider. Like, the legs are
Yeah.
the scary
Yeah,
part.
yeah. But it still looks fine. It's still got a big smile on its face.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
it's
can see
great.
you quit on last hit.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah. So with those bosses, it's funny. They have a pickup after them that I think impacts the percentage, like completion percentage, but doesn't actually set the flag that needs to be set to get to the final boss. So all you have to do is hit them, you take them out and then return to save and you're good to go. Just one of those interesting things that will make any percent boss fights different from 100% when we get to it. It's
gonna just
daunting. There's a
Safety
lot of
here.
stuff
I don't
in
think
the
I
game.
need it, but it's like a 2-second loss to
Yeah.
be smart.
It's not a waste.
Because I think I get a save before the next part that actually presents any risk. Now we're in Filth Pest domain.
Yeah.
And luckily, Filth Pest has a
Pest and-
very helpful receptionist.
Oh yes. Yeah, we didn't get to talk about the different characters that you meet along the way in this game very much, but one of them, at first he was satisfied to just be flying around in the sky and wasn't really interested in adventuring, but then he got hired as an assistant by Snoot, and then got a promotion to Filth Pest, one of the big bad's assistants. So I love him for that.
Because they do a great job of setting up the character so that you can't be mad at him for it. Like, he's clearly just so unaware of what's happening
Yeah.
that he's just like, I work here now. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, bud? Have you thought about the implications of that? And he's like, the what?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Those lasers are so scary.
I know, I have
this
to be
is one of the
super
scariest
safe through here
areas.
now.
These guys that just track you and then shoot. Yep.
There's nowhere I could have gotten away from that. I have found when the lasers converge too much, it is very difficult to get through them. Like, the iframes don't always work. Yeah, this is not the fastest way to do this, but it sure is safe.
Oh, he's right
Okay.
above you.
I guess I can just
All
take
right, well-
damage during slam sometimes, yeah. Bummer.
I think it might have been at the very start of the slam because it's
Like before the
just-
iframes kick in.
so there's you have a bit of hang time when the slam starts and then you start to go down, and I think it's when you're actually moving down that the iframes kick in. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like. Yeah, while we're doing this again, I started to explain it earlier, but I don't think I finished. Just going over the things that aren't in this category that are in unrestricted, which one was the save displacement. Another is something I like to call undead mouse, because calling it invulnerability is a little bit confusing because you can use assist options to turn on invulnerability just as a sort of an option. You can increase your damage output and enemy health if you want to challenge instead and things like that. But yeah, Undead Mouse involves dying while going through a screen transition. So either by using the shift shot or by falling down into a vertical screen transition, and that makes it so that you're dead, which means you can't take damage, but you're alive enough to move around. And then the other one would be these infinite jumps that you can get by jumping off of a wall and then just pressing arrow and jump over and over again, pretty much, where I think it's sort of the arrow buffers your coyote time jump from the wall, essentially, so you can just keep jumping through the air. It's we're sort of talking about that currently, just confirming if everyone feels like it is something that should or shouldn't be restricted. So feel free to join up on the discussion if you want. We'd love to have more people both running the game and just giving input, since There's just a small few of us at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it is a absolutely phenomenal speed game. I'm like shocked it doesn't have more runners, but you know, I think there's a ton of potential to fix that because there's categories that haven't been routed yet, and oh, that worked. Wow. There's categories that haven't been routed yet, and I've started working on Hundo, but there's also theoretically all bosses should be a thing.
Yeah. So we skip quite a few in any percent, so all bosses would look pretty different. It would definitely be interesting to see, like, doing all the bosses while still, you know, skipping everything that you are able to.
Whoa, that got a little scary.
Yeah.
I don't think we're totally out of the woods yet.
Yeah, I'm like looking at the map. Like, where are we?
Okay, we're good. We are.
Yes, we
We're
are.
good.
We are. It's safe. It's safe.
Okay. Boss fight time.
And now we get to fight Filth Pest. These bosses that have a hitbox that extends to the ground are really
a blessing.
Still have the hiccups. Yeah, because you can just slam attack and you see with the damage numbers just like how much. Well, it's hard to count because there's so many numbers, but it does quite a lot.
It's a lot of damage, and we have iframes, or as we call them, iSeconds.
iSeconds.
It's a lot longer than a couple of frames. But we have a very generous invulnerability period when you are using it as well.
I feel like
Should also mention-
I feel like the face is gonna be like the best and the worst emote, especially with the red eyes. I was like, this is good, and then the red eyes hit, and it went, oh no.
We should. Oh, these should be emotes in the Discord server, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I was just thinking that today because I keep using emotes from other servers, and I'm like, there's too much good character design in this game for us not to have better emotes in here. Oh, come on.
Oh, so
Be cool. Be cool. That's, you know what, that one's on me.
Oh.
Okay. Did not expect to die to
Oh
Filth Pest.
no.
we have time.
I think that was another instance of lasers pierce through iframes. Sometimes. Not all the time, sometimes.
The
That gets particularly annoying on Bone Golem, where it's here. If you do this at the right time, you get iframes through these lasers, but if you do it at the wrong time, they damage you. It'd be like that. I will say, it's never like, it doesn't happen often enough to be like frustrating. Like, it does feel like you have control over doing it right, and therefore, you know, if you just time it correctly, you'll avoid the damage. But sometimes when you're really right on the edge of like hitbox or no hitbox, it can definitely be a little like, what? I thought I was safe.
Yeah. You also have to get the timing down for the slam attacks because you can't just do them over and over again. There's a bit of a cooldown. And then, of course, here when the when the ground disappears out from under you, don't have anything to slam onto.
Yeah. So if you chain the slam attacks right, you can get basically infinite invuln from them. Oh, I should have looked at his health and just slammed earlier. Same quit on last hit.
There we go.
All right.
Yep.
Now we are making our way to the last boss.
Yep. So those were sort of the I don't know, the lackeys, the the first two. Oh yeah, by the way, that teleport there that we just used is the one that we got right at before grabbing the magnet on the.
Oh yeah, way back when
Island
we
with the
jumped
flowers, way
over the
back
magnet and like went into another room for just a second and then went back to get the magnet. It finally came back to pay out on what we sowed.
Yeah.
That was one of the sentences of all time.
Definitely.
Oh look, another place that thinks I should have cloud shot.
Yeah. just keep. Basically, the rule of thumb is if you see a room that you're like, how is someone supposed to do this casually? The answer is not like this.
Not like that.
Yeah. Yep, so to get to the final boss now, we have to go through a series of like actual mini bosses, not just the
Can you
usual,
die?
Thank here's a handful of normal enemy rooms, but unique little boss fights that are significantly shorter than your average boss fight. And to collect these keys that will open this room, there's got to be some way to time
I love his
this, but
stance when he's doing this.
Yeah,
It's so cute.
You know what? My favorite, I think, I guess, eco frame is during the roll, the smear frame where the eye is
Yes,
just like.
it's so good.
It's genuinely, I love it. The animation looks really good. And
Maybe that's
also
what I should
just
get for my
pausing
Islets
that is
tattoo.
hilarious.
It's just the smear frame.
The smear frame. Yes. If you
He's
didn't
such
see
a
it
good
before,
one.
you see it now, by the way. But yeah. This final boss is more than just a final boss as well. It's a bit of a sort of recap of some of the previous things that we've done, but you'll see that in a moment.
Yeah, because we have one more little key mini boss to unlock. Oh, there's one of my favorite rooms. This is like a really complex puzzle. We just roll through it.
Yeah.
We're like, that looks like too many steps.
They're not solid, so.
It is possible. I did it earlier today. It is possible to fight this boss without taking any damage.
Oh, yeah. And this guy.
Like without moving, sorry. Mm-hmm. You can just get that cycle over and over again and never get hit. So silly.
Just normal attacks on this guy because hitbox does not extend to the ground, so slam attacks don't do anything.
Yeah. It's just frustrating because by now you've gotten so used to using slam attack to fight bosses that you're like, all right, one more time. And then the guy who's actually on the ground, you can't. These are the 3 keys we just collected, and now we have unlocked our final boss, the Gut Ghoul.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to hang out in this
big.
corner to deal with him. Because if I just kind of chain these and every now and then move myself out of the way of some of the more dangerous attacks, we can pretty much just do this for the whole first cycle.
Yep. Yes, he's got the Clockmaker has this attack that makes a sort of clock-shaped thing come out, and we've got the attacks from the Buried Beast and the Stone Witch, and the and the Tomb of the
Yeah, funny enough,
as well.
The bosses that actually have cycles here are the ones we actually fought, and I have no idea if that is like the game only sets a flag if you've killed the boss to bring it back, or if it is purely happenstance that we only get the cycles of the ones we have to play for any percent. Like, I don't know if that's by
no
design.
Robot one, I guess.
Oh yeah, so it's not all
I
of
think
them.
it's just these 4. Also,
Yeah,
this
it
fight is
just
a lot
happenstance.
harder when you're not on easy, by the way. It looks like, what are you doing? You're just doing the same
Also, I can
thing.
do my favorite thing since I didn't take damage in the first phase.
Oh, yeah.
So I've realized Sky Pirates are a lot harder and slower on this, but if I don't take damage first phase, I can just tank hits and kill them really fast.
Yep.
Because now I still have half of my health to get through the rest of these phases. This is the boss
is the
that
one
we
we didn't
skipped.
fight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This
Yeah,
little
so
guy.
you still get a taste
Ooh, I don't
of
like being
it.
down here. I'm gonna not.
Thankfully, you have a teleport. Yeah.
There we go.
But yeah, we just get a little bit of a like mini recap of each of the sky bosses as well before we finish off. Gut Ghoul or
Kind of like a small
Hopefully.
boss rush.
Yeah, a little mini boss rush before the
Yeah.
actual Gut Ghoul appears. Send in all his lackeys to deal with us. Which one do you start with? Yeah, that one. I'm like, which cycle do you start on? I do not remember.
yeah.
Well, because I couldn't remember if I had to go
They're each-
clockwise or counterclockwise.
And they're each a bit different from their like initial fights since they move around a bit more. So I don't know.
That was
it
scary.
just feels a little
All right. Now
almost
Gut Ghoul
done.
appears. Now we can actually fight the
Oh.
Gut Ghoul. Oh no.
You should
Nope.
get away. He's gonna He's gonna eat you.
Ah, beans.
Oh
We've been ingested.
no. Well, he looks satisfied.
Yeah, he looks happy. That's something. We are inside of Gut Ghoul now. Bummer.
Okay, so
Oh.
How are we ever going to reach our friends? How are they going to know?
we're supposed to beat the game, but doesn't look like that's gonna happen now.
Oh,
You
good
got
thing
mail?
our friends can send us mail.
That's
That's a good place for mailbox.
yeah, really.
Our friends are going to come help.
Come
on, guys.
Sweet.
It's our
Nah, beans.
Graybird and Snoot. The friends that we've gotten to know and love over the course of the speed run, right? Well, Graybird. Snoot, I don't know about.
He's on
And then the
thin ice.
real hero, Goba.
And
So thanks to Goba, we were able to
Nice.
beat the game.
Sorry, I forgot time coming up there.
Estimate. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Time actually used to happen after some dialogue after this, but then because we were like, you don't actually input anything to skip dialogue,
Yeah.
the dev was like, oh, I can change it so that it happens at this point instead, and now it does. So that's the game.
That's the whole kit and caboodle. Like we've mentioned a few
Awesome.
times, crazy fun speedrun, crazy fun casual game. Highly recommend playing it casually. And there's so much heart and character and more content and like other things to find and story that you didn't see here. So you are certainly not spoiled by any means. If you are
Definitely
interested in learning the game, as one does, join the Discord. You can find it on our speedrun.com page. And it's the same Discord for Sheepo and Islets, both of the games by this developer. So I'm going to skip through that so I don't spoil anything.
Yeah, speedrun.com/islets, ISLETS. It's right there, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can find the link to the Discord there. Yeah.
Whoa, who's that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. A bunch of us.
We're amongst
in the
royalty.
a bunch of us in the Sheepo community got to do a bit of play testing on an early build because Kyle reached out to us and we were like, yes, we want to help. So
Yeah, this is the door that unlocks if you get all 60 upgrades. So
Oh,
as you can imagine, there's a lot more game to play before you
Yeah.
unlock this.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, do you have
that
any
is the
other
whole
shout
thing.
outs?
do
That's
to
Islets.
skip it, but
Yeah. Any other shout outs you have?
I think I said their name once, but shout out Swaggo, world record holder now in
oh yeah.
both Any Percent and Boss Rush as of yesterday. And former world record holder and generally cool person Shresh. And all of the Islets and Sheepo folks. And
Yep. Sylvie
you're all
on
great.
Unrestricted. She hasn't been doing it
Yeah,
lately
Spring Sylvie.
because of how some patches changed things, but we'll be back to it. I'm sure.
Quacksilver, lots of folks who float around in the Islets Discord. And yeah, we'd love to see you there. So come hang out and thanks for having us. It was super fun to finally get to show
Yeah,
this game
thank
off
you.
after a while.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for both of you all coming out and showcasing that amazing game. It was so great to see. I'm gonna have to pick it up come my next paycheck. But if you missed any part of it, do not fret. You can always head on over to youtube.com/gamesdonequick where you can see
a good one.
this run or past other runs that you can see, other runs from other events. All that available, youtube.com/gamesdonequick. We're going to be right back where we get things set up for our next run, which is Pizza Tower. I see people in chat are going all about that. So now's a good time to get up, stretch, get some water, hydrate, do all that fancy jazz while we get everything taken care of for our next game, Pizza Tower.
Thanks again for having us. So much
Thank
fun.
you.
All right, and welcome back to the Bargain Bin here on twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick. I'm still Midnight Vesper. Hey, don't forget, GDQX is going to be live from TwitchCon October 20th through the 22nd, only a couple of weeks from now. The event's going to take place on the Games Done Quick stage, as well as be streamed live right here on twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick. Use !GDQX in Twitch chat to find out more information and check out those games lists. And of course, also speaking of live events, Awesome Games Done Quick 2024 is going to be live and in person in good old Philly, PA, January 14th to the 21st. Also, !AGDQ in Twitch chat for more information. Can't wait for that as well. And finally, your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel do help support GDQ Games Done Quick Hotfix. Please consider subscribing if you enjoy the daily speedrunning content. And now I cannot wait to do this. It is a grand old time to get out your pizza, just like what I'm doing right now, and get ready for Pizza Tower. How are you all doing? I swear, I was going to say pizza time again, and I hesitated. I'm like, nope. Just going to grab this another little pizza box and eat this amazing pizza while I enjoy some Pizza Tower. Impossible Blank, how you doing?
Hello there, Harold.
Hello, I'm doing great today. Welcome to Pizza Time. This game is...
You did it!
This game is a wild ride, so I hope everyone enjoys it today. I am Impossible Blank, the runner of this video game.
I'm Soaring Sloth. I love Pizza Tower just as much as this guy.
I'm XVC, 30 EP450, or just call me XVC, it's fine. And yeah, pretty cool game, I gotta say.
I would say.
Alright, so yeah, this is gonna be quite a ride. It's only just over an hour, but it's a very eventful just over an hour, so
It's a very
hope you guys are ready.
Notoriously low downtime game, so...
Yes, this run is
Don't
ridiculously
blink.
fast. So, all I can say is Impasa's really going to have to give it his A game for this next hour. So, I think we're about ready, right?
Yep. Time will start as soon as I press A on this file. So I'll start in 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go.
All right, so hello and welcome to Pizza Tower True Ending. Our main man, Peppino Spaghetti, is gonna head over to the Pizza Tower and climb it to beat Pizza Face and save his struggling pizzeria from certain demise. Now, the move you see right there, that sprint, Impossible Blank is gonna be doing that for basically the 99% of the run. That's the mock dash. The way it works is pretty simple. You hold the dash button, and Peppino starts running at ever-increasing speed. This allows you to do a number of things. Going fast, obviously. You can also break blocks along your path. You can run over enemies to kill them. And you can even climb walls. On top of that, there's also a few more moves that you can link off of the mock dash. Some of them intentional techniques. Some of them a couple of glitches and exploits. And with all of that combined, there's actually quite a lot of things that you can do off of the mock dash. Now, keeping control of all of this, especially the more advanced stuff, can be a little tricky. But since Impossible Blank has been running the game for quite some time, I think that he shouldn't have too much trouble maneuvering through the levels like a graceful and majestic freight train barreling through each of the levels and leaving relatively few survivors.
Typical Italian behavior.
Of course.
Yes.
That's a part of true Italian lore. And he has to deliver those pizzas really fast,
That is true. He's gotta make that money somehow. Anyway, we're heading into the first level of the game here, John Gutter. And I think it's probably a perfect time to talk about the structure of True Ending. So, unlike any percent, where the goal is obviously just to reach the top of the tower as fast as you possibly can, there's a little bit more to True Ending that we have to worry about. Instead of actually worrying about our general money economy with all the top things in each level, we have to actually focus on grabbing every treasure in the game, which is a total of 19 different treasures. There's one in each stage, and all of them involve picking up this character called Jerome and finding his little door in the stage.
All right. Yeah, that would be right. So you need to go into each of the levels, collect the treasure. We also need to grab the toppins. That's very important. We need those to earn money, and that is going to allow us to buy our way into each of the boss battles. There's 5 of them throughout the game. and you need to beat each of them to progress to the next floor of the tower, which gets you more levels, opens the path to the next boss. Rinse and repeat until you reach the end credits. And we don't need all of the top-ends, but we do need most of them. So there will be a few points in the run in which we will ignore top-ends in order to save a little bit of time, since there's a few of them we can afford to skip. One important difference from True Ending to any percent is that in any percent we actually just skip one of the levels outright, since it's faster to just grab more top-ends in levels you're already visiting than to visit a whole new level just to grab more top-ends. But since in this category we need all the treasures, we're going to be playing all of the levels regardless. So yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we should probably talk about, I mean, I guess level gimmicks, really. Every single stage in this game has at least something going for it, and a lot of them are transformations. Pizzascape is the first stage in the game that really showcases this with the night suit, and it's every transformation has their own little palette of moves, I guess you can say. But 9 times out of 10, you actually want to dodge these, but
A lot of the times you really can't, though, because of the rats in the way that can only be destroyed with the transformations.
Yes, Peppino's base kit is just really good, but there are a number of obstacles along the way that need transformations. So we will be using them, but we'll be keeping them at a bare minimum to just go fast instead. And yeah, so we're gonna be mock dashing 90% of the run. We're gonna be skipping a few top-ends, grabbing all the treasures to unlock the true ending as per the category. And transformations, they're there. We kind of need them, but we'll avoid them if given the chance. That's basically all you need to know for the rest of the run. And yeah, we're gonna. Oh yeah, another trick that you're gonna be seeing very often. If you've played the game before, you might have noticed that when opening some of the locked doors, usually there's a little cutscene that plays where Peppino goes like, okay, and it plays for a few seconds. We actually skip it, and that's thanks to a trick called Up Door. If you perform an uppercut and land in front of the door as you try to open it, it is possible to skip the cutscene thanks to some wonderful animation shenanigans this game is going.
The urge to go off and ask what's up, door.
Yeah.
And now we're going up to the first boss fight of the game, Pepperman. This guy can be a little bit of a headache to speedrun because it doesn't have RNG. This game actually has very little RNG involved with it. And Pepperman doesn't really have any RNG involved with it either. But rather is that some of his attacks and some of the stuff that the obstacles that spawn along the fight are very specific on the way they're scripted. Depending on where you're standing and where Pepperman is standing at any point in the fight, things are gonna go a certain way, and they can. And to put it this way, as long as you stick to the script perfectly, the fight will go great. The moment you stray off of that script, at that point you've entered the lottery, and you really have to be.
Speaking of,
Yeah. Ooh, that's rough.
no.
The moment you make one slip, you're basically just back to just scrambling and trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, this is usually the point in the run where a lot of resets happen. Peppermint is not a very forgiving fight for the first 5 minutes in the run.
Yeah, it's basically the first big. Well,
One of the major reset points for sure.
Yeah,
No one really likes this boss.
There's obviously several reset points, but a lot of people like to point this one as the first big hurdle.
Another thing you might have noticed at the end of that boss fight is that there's usually a results screen at the end of each boss fight and at the end of each level, but we kind of skipped that as well. The way that we do that is with results screen skip. If you exit the level, as you finish the level, it is possible to skip the results screen since you exited the level, but at the same time you kind of trick the game into thinking that you actually finished it, and you actually get to keep all of the stuff that you collected. Now, the thing about results screen skip is that it's not a very difficult trick. It's pretty simple. But if you mess it up, you run the risk of actually exiting the level for real without completing the level, which means that you don't get anything. And at that point, you have to replay the level that you just played all over again. It's basically a run killer.
It's thankfully very forgiving. Once you actually learn the setup for it, like it's, I believe, like a 1 second window, so you have you have enough time to really just, you know, get the inputs down. But it is it is a very scary thing to think about just every now and then.
The only reason you'd ever really mess it up is if you're trying to do it really fast.
Yes.
Yeah,
that is something
there's
that
not
a lot
really
of
We do have to do for the speedruns, so we're
there's
playing with
not
fire
any
a little
timing
bit.
involved if you don't want it to be. But yeah, and it's not a really difficult trick. It's simple to do, but it's also very easy to mess it up if you're not paying attention. And the price for messing it up is just the run blowing up in your face on a moment's notice. It stinks, man. But yeah, ancient cheese. There's a few bombs that you toss around, as you might have been able to see, but pretty straightforward level as well.
And nothing too crazy.
Very base Pepino movement-y. No crazy transformation in that level. And we're done.
That is a good way to put it.
Blink and you miss out.
Anyway,
Starting
who's
from
ready
this
for
next
everybody's...
level is probably where the levels are gonna start getting a little bit more interesting. Bloodsus Dungeon is a very vertical level. Usually you get a lot of chances to just sprint away. Instead in this level there's gonna be a lot of rooms where we're gonna be not dashing around but grabbing to get little bursts of movement as we zigzag our way down. There's also a few lava puddles that kind of... We don't really need those, they're just kind of there to waste your time. We're gonna be making a little detour to grab Jerome there. In 100% or in any P rank runs for some of the daring souls out there, you would generally grab that Jerome during the escape, and then actually grabbing the treasure during the second lap, which is a thing in this game. However, since we're not really interested in lapping the level, we're just gonna make that little detour to grab it right away. We'll actually grab the treasure we will grab the treasure during the escape, though.
Yeah, I can't express...
Go on.
I can't... Sorry. I'm just like... I can't express how hard the inputs are in Bloodsus Dungeon. Impossible Blank makes it look really easy, but for most new people like coming into this scene, like doing all this back to back is actually so hard, since it's very easy just to bump into a wall and waste half a second like every time. It's really commendable.
A lot of little gaps you have to roll through, a lot of like walls back to back. You need to like constantly grab one side then grab to the other. No, yeah, this is really good stuff so far. Love to see it.
Hey, that section is very difficult.
Nice.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Another thing that might have caught your eye if you've played this game before is that Impossible Blank has been doing little pauses here and there, and he seems to turn around quite a bit, like pretty abruptly. That's another trick, insta-turns. By doing a number of inputs on the same frame, it is possible to skip the skidding animation that usually happens when you try to turn around while dashing. Now, rather than actually doing these inputs on the same frame, there's a couple of setups for it. You can do a taunt, Or, as Impasa has been doing here, you can also pause and then buffer some of the inputs as you unpause.
Yeah, pausing's usually safer.
And this allows you to not only skip that skidding animation, you actually get to preserve all of the speed you had going in your dash. Normally when turning, you would lose some of it. Not with instant turns.
And it just looks cool. That's a lot of this game. So much of it just is a feast for the eyes. Like, I love watching speedruns of this game.
Another cool thing about like running the game is that while we have mentioned a few tricks and glitches, there's not actually a ton of like major tricks that you have to learn to really get into the run. A lot of it is just playing well, good movement, and
it's just
a lot of the
levels.
tricks that I've mentioned before, it's really just more tools to get good movement. So you can totally just like put a lot of this stuff off until later. You can get a very competitive time just by mastering the basics. Right, so going into Oregano Desert, the signature transformation for this level is going to be the Hot Wing. You eat it, and you get to fly around with a mouthful of fire.
Yeah, this is one of the faster transformations in the game, so it's not really a detriment to actually be using it, but it's also a transformation that you're required to use for, I think, 80% of the rooms that have it in them.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's that one room in which you have to, like, actively avoid it, but,
That's true.
It's quite the fun transformation to use, though. None of these transformations ever feel like, I have to play as this transformation now. Like, they're all really fun.
Why are there cows in this level?
Some fancy stuff you can do with it. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Well, actually, do worry about it, because if they kick you, you kind of just get stopped. For like, it's like the most sigh-inducing thing you can imagine.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, you know, whenever it happens to a runner, it's like, oh, lovely. I cannot believe I just lost that.
It's the silliest time loss.
It is. It is.
So am I hearing it correctly that the cows stop you from moving?
Yes. Yes.
That would be
precisely
correct. This is factual.
It's a factual
Kind of a
pun
cheese
that
obstacle
works.
to include in the game, but what can you do?
I just love the lack of animation on these cows, by the way. They just stand there menacingly. I'm not supposed to go in that pizza mart.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, while top ends are important, they give us money so we can afford to enter boss battles. We don't need all of them to eventually reach the ending. And there's a number of top ends that we skip. This is the first one, the Pineapple in Oregano Desert. Most of the top ends that we'll be skipping will be like all of them in floor 3, if I'm not misremembering. But yeah, that's basically the first top end skip of the run.
Yeah, there's just a few levels that are very different from how you'd play them casually based on the top end route. We skip like most of the levels. That'll come up later though.
Yeah, so Waystart is a very interesting level in the speedrun. I think we are all thinking of the same trick that's coming up in 30 seconds. So Waystart is a very special case in the fact that there is a pretty serious sequence break around 40% of the way through the stage, and we call it Waystart skip. It involves a very complicated setup, but it allows us to skip the Big John room in its entirety.
Yeah, it could save a really good chunk of time if you hit it, but it can also lose a really good chunk of time if you miss it.
Yeah,
it kind of avoids what would otherwise be a forced sequence with the ghost, which it lets you fly around the stage. If you grab those little ghost peppers, you pick up a little bit of speed. It allows you to break some blocks along your way. Not bad, but would rather stay normal. And
Sorry.
Okay,
it's fine. It's fine.
Room, we're gonna.
Let's go. We got it.
Let's go.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
This is arguably one of the hardest tricks in the game, so I gotta give massive props to Impossible Link for landing that.
Yeah, it's like you have to push around an enemy, then taunt it to unstun it, and just manipulate the timer on its... It's just too much to even bother to explain it.
There's so much that goes into it that I don't even think we could encapsulate it right in like the span of 30 seconds.
The level will be done by the time you're still halfway through explaining it.
Yes.
Yes.
But
Anyway,
a huge sigh of relief
But
every
anyway,
time you hit
that
it.
just saved like how much? Like 20, 30, 20 seconds?
Like 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Well, okay, I severely overestimated. Oops.
But hey, in this game, 5 seconds is a huge amount of time.
it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
Anyway.
yeah, we're just gonna make our way out of Wasteyard while avoiding the vengeful ghost of Killer John. Just nothing too special here. Just normal Pizza Tower stuff, you know.
It's the average day of Italy.
Of course.
The most normal day on the Pizza Tower. Alright, so another level down. Next up is the level featuring the iconic cameo from the unforgettable PS1 mascot puzzle platformer, Morta Chicken.
I love this guy. He's my favorite thing in the world.
He's a silly little fella.
He's a silly little fella and unfortunately kind of like one of the slowest transformations in the game. So there's actually a couple of points where we're going to be intentionally taking damage to get rid of the transformation because it's just so much faster to just run by yourself.
It's not that we hate you more, the chicken. It's just the consequence of doing a speed run.
Yeah, it is what it is. But hey, you do get to double jump, and you do get to do that little attack there. It reaches kind of far, and you actually move a little bit faster if you spam it, so yeah, we're gonna be spamming it quite a bit. Make that little detour for Jerome. Hello, Pizza Tower guy.
Oh no!
Oh.
It's fine. We can just come back down. Minor time loss.
A little fumble there, but it's not the end of the world. Just a few seconds lost. It's fine.
It's surely fine.
Right. Grabbing that little top in there, and okay, let's see. What's something? I'm trying to think ahead of. Oh yeah, we're gonna be taking damage there to get rid of the transformation. Normally, you'd use the priest up there to undo the transformation, but the potatoes there, it's faster. It's fine. Okay, next up, there's a bit of a finicky jump coming up. Let's see if he.
Let's go.
Oh,
nice.
The leap of faith.
If you go at full speed and you jump just right, you can just like you're supposed to do that jump with Mort and the double jump and the hook stuff. But nah, we're just gonna leap right over.
It can be a really tricky jump to get consistent, and a lot of people have trouble with it at first.
No, yeah, it definitely takes some learning to get the timing just right. Another up door into the treasure. Nicely done.
Alrighty.
One thing, each time we exit the level to do result screen skip, you might notice that Peppino comes down crashing from the sky because you exit the level. It's supposed to be similar to when you lose. You can just... rather than exiting the level through the door, you can just crash down. In this level in particular, when you exit the level, Impoth is gonna be... It's gonna fall down from the sky. It's gonna overlap with Mr. Stick, the guy that you buy the boss door from. And if you hold up as you do, he's actually gonna be able to interact with him, and basically it's gonna be there's gonna be an up warp going up. So do look out for that at the end of the level.
It is definitely a highlight.
We skipped the top in there, but we'll be coming back for that one later. Don't you worry. We got something neat. Land. So yeah, Fast Food Saloon. This level has those Winnie mounts, and it also has a number of races against Horsey. So you can earn. That's how you're supposed to earn some of the toppins. But Impossible Blank has the racing game under control, I would say, being a speedrunner and all. So
I sure would hope so.
okay, so usually you'd use the mount for this, but by luring this enemy.
Oh, don't
and
forget
tricking
that.
it to toss the bomb into the rat, you can just open up the path that way.
Yeah, they have a weird property that allows them to destroy the big rats that you see in a lot of levels. So
Yeah, and just
it's
a
because
very-
it's an explosion, similar to the bombs, I would wager.
Very conveniently placed Bandito.
Right, let's see.
ooh.
Oh, nice! Usually you're supposed to go around, but by doing a very precise dive, Impasa just managed to save like a couple seconds. That was basically just a swag strat, very much.
Yeah, that very much was. You
Yeah,
didn't
that
have to
was
do as dirty like
very
that.
much an IL strat that I just did in my first try. So like, that's pretty cool.
It's a marathon. You gotta go for the swag if given the opportunity. No shame, just go for it.
What's the worst that could happen?
Nothing much really. Again, a lot of the game is just good movement. Even if you make a fumble, it usually just loses you like a second or two.
And that's what
Like,
makes this game
so-
so fun to run. Because as you play the game, you just naturally get better at movement the more you do it, and you just naturally improve. So you feel a big sense of improvement the more you play the game. And it's very fun.
Yeah, Pizza Tower is a
Yeah,
very
it's like
satisfying game.
you just
keep
get
down.
good at the game. It really comes down to that. Like the one thing that you have. Okay, there's the off-port I talked about earlier. As you crash down, you just interact with Stick on your way down and just interrupt that whole nonsense. It's great. Okay, so Vigilante. It's supposed to be kind of a Mega Man fight. But the thing is, by charging shots strategically and timing our damage, we're basically just going to stun lock this nerd to death. And
It's
then you
quite-
get the.
It's quite comical. I mean, the man doesn't get an opportunity to really do anything after that first encounter.
Yeah, unless you give it to him like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as long as everything goes along to plan, like as soon as he becomes vulnerable, you just punch him with like a giant bullet and then 2 smaller bullets, and he just takes damage again, and yeah, he's just gonna get bullied to death. Like there's nothing you can do. It's truly sad to see.
I think out of all the boss fights within Pizza Tower, this one is probably the most consistent, but every now and then you'll get a cardboard cutout that just obstructs your charge shot, which is not very fun.
Yeah, those ones are. I do believe those are actually RNG, and you can sort of deal with them if you know how. But yeah, they can be a pretty big obstruction. I hate to see it, but Impossible Blank managed to just nail the whole fight. Didn't even take any damage. So we're just gonna grab the key, exit level, and move on to floor 3.
Very nice P rank, technically.
Well, the thing is, like, when you exit the level that way, you don't actually get a rank.
Unfortunate.
If you get the timing just right, it is actually possible to exit the boss and still get the rank, but it's only really relevant for 100% where you actually want the ranks. Anyway, Crust Cove.
My personal bias for best track in the game.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so many good tracks. Oh, nice.
Very
That
nice.
that series of jumps Impasa did just there. That's deceptively tight to pull off. Very good stuff.
Yeah, Crust Cove is notorious for having a couple of rooms with very tight windows.
And a lot of jank. Quite
Yes.
a lot of jank, especially with the barrel.
Yeah, the barrel is
The
very slippery to
barrel is
control.
kind of a finicky transformation to get a handle of. When you you roll around, and then when you stop rolling, you still preserve some of your momentum. If you want to turn around, you don't turn around right away. So it makes sense once you get a feel for it, but it does take some learning. We're gonna leave that topper for later. It's fine. Pasa cruising by. Yeah, like again, this game is like the mock dash in this game is just really cool. Like you can just climb walls. You have a bunch of like movements that you can link the dash into, and if you know what you're doing, you can just flow through all these levels like really smoothly. It's great.
It's all in this beautiful animation style. Reminds me of like old Nick cartoons or Cartoon Network.
Yeah, it's such a 90s vibe throughout the whole thing that it's joyous.
I have a soft spot for Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah.
I've also heard it being compared to Ren and Stimpy.
Because every single frame of Peppino's animation is like a piece of art.
Like, I hear that. I
Pause
also,
it at any moment, and it is beautiful.
Like on the Pizza Tower Discord while it was around, and currently on the speedrunning Discord, a lot of the emotes that we have for those servers are just Peppino frames. And can you blame us? Look at this man, he's unhinged.
It is impressive how many unhinged frames of Peppino are just present within the game files, because it isn't just like, you know, like a handful like you would expect in like any other game. It is among dozens, if not hundreds.
All right, everybody brace. It's Lario time.
It is the glorious Gnome Forest. Gnome Forest is special in the fact that it is one of two stages where we are actually not going to be seeing Peppino that much. We're actually going to be seeing his very beloved friend, Gustavo and Brick.
The only characters that matter, really. Look at them. There they are.
Oh my god.
There he is.
There he is.
The boy.
All right, so Gustavo and Brick share a few similarities with Peppino, but at the same time, they're very different. They both have a dash, but Gustavo is not gonna be climbing up walls or doing a lot of like fancy text and movements, but he does have a few other tricks up his sleeve. He can use Brick he can kick Brick forward and use him as a projectile, rolling projectile of sorts, right there. He can do a double jump in the middle of the air. They can bounce off of walls. It's kind of weird to get a feel for it, but you can definitely do some fancy stuff with these two if you put your back into it. I mean,
They are
look at Pasa right now.
very satisfying to get the hang of, I can tell you that.
Look at him go!
Yeah, most new runners will actually struggle with Gustavo and Brick a lot just because it's such a very different character to control compared to Peppino, so...
I love
It's kind of like he's a completely different character.
Almost!
Just about.
I do enjoy how,
I mean,
Gustavo only has like one real animation on the TV. It's just him waving the whole time.
Hi!
He's just happy to be here.
Right? Yeah.
And then Brick right there in the top right. Just being
like
a little fella.
like when you grab a large pickup and Brick just goes like, this is the kind of content I live for.
Brick
Give
is the
me
best
more,
character.
please.
You heard it here first.
But although as epic and as Gustavo and Brick are, sadly he's not quite as fast as Peppino. So like Gnome Forest is probably one of the longer levels out of the whole game, second only to a certain sewer level that we'll be seeing later. And yeah, and there's another level in the future where we would be seeing more of Gustavo if he wasn't quite as slow. Luckily for him and the Gustavo fans out there, there is a section, like it will be a bit longer than any percent because we'll get to that later. For now, we're just gonna make our way out of Gnome Forest. Usually it's Gustavo pointing the way forward, sometimes Mr. Steak, but since you're currently playing as Gustavo, it's, yeah. Hi, Mr. Steak. Right, back to that guy, fun's over. I guess we're playing as Pepino.
Get a load of this guy. Thinks he's star of the show.
I love all the different treasures.
They're just funny.
Some of them are really like the one in John Gutter is butter, so I like to call it gutter butter.
Gutter butter.
All right.
All right.
I hope we have a couple people from the Midwest in chat, because it's time to go pay a visit to our friendly Deep Dish 9.
Yeah! Bangers.
You
It's
guys,
only bangers in this game, but this one is a banger among bangers.
what are you guys' thoughts on deep dish pizza?
You know, as a fellow Midwesterner, I have to say, it's good in moderation. You cannot have a lot of it. It's a lot.
I don't think I've ever had a chance to try it.
Yeah, I've never had it actually, so I don't even know.
I think
It's
it is quite
it's
scrumptious. If I
It's
do say
definitely
so
worth your
myself.
time. It's
An
definitely worth your
observant
time.
viewer might have noticed that we just avoided taking that door. There was top in there. That is not an accident. That is the second top in that we'll be skipping in this run. It just takes it just takes too long to go through that door and grab the top in, so we're just gonna cruise right through. But yeah, Deep Dish 9, signature feature of this level. You have rockets. You can fly through the air with them. Yeah, you actually kind of need this one too. And there you go. Didn't forget the drone there.
Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, you can fly through the air with that rocket, and only while you're touching the ground, you can actually redirect. You can actually like change directions with just like raw Italian power. And we'll be using those rockets to break asteroids when necessary. We're gonna be taking this one. Grab the top end and save time. Surprise. Yeah, like, Deep Dish 9 is probably one of the shorter levels in the whole game. Outside of the very early ones, I suppose.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if outside of like one exception on 4.3, this definitely would be contender for shortest level in 4.3. But you know, I think we'll see why in approximately a minute.
Oh yeah, if you think this is short, you ain't seen nothing.
I am so excited to get to the next stage.
In fact, just to make sure that we can cover it in time, I'm gonna start right now. So, the next level that we're gonna visit in this floor is golf. Now, usually, the gimmick of the level is that you're gonna be playing golf. There's gonna be it'll make sense in a second, but the whole gimmick of the level is that you're playing golf. Now, the way that the level is structured, normally you would make detours to several golf courses, and the reward at the end of these courses is a top-in. Now, all of these take a very long time. Like, they take from as little as, like, the shortest one I think is like 20 or 30 seconds. So, what we're gonna be doing in this level is we're just gonna make a mad dash to the very end of the level. We're just going to skip the first 3 top-ins. And then at the very end, we're gonna do a trick called Berg Skip.
Or in this case, burger skip. True ending.
Oh,
Slightly
That
different.
is true. And slightly different. Slightly different.
Usually, when you trigger the escape, if you play this game normally, you would do some more golfing at the very end. But we're gonna be remotely triggering the escape so that we can just bail out the way we came and basically save a 40 seconds. We're gonna be pulling this guy here, placing him strategically, grab drone on our way out. And now that burger
Let's
golfer
go.
over there is gonna smack the ball into the pillar and just trigger the escape all the way from there. Normally, if you just did it yourself, you would be locked into that room and you'd have to keep going forward, do a whole bunch of golf. Nah, we don't have time for that. This trick saves like 40 seconds right there. It's insane.
Yeah, and that one
It's
is
a
not an
massive
exaggeration
sequence
this time. It is by far the
However-
biggest skip in the game.
in doing this, we basically just got a single top-in out of here, and the treasure. So yeah, we just skipped 4 out of 5 top-ins in this level, which makes for a total of 6 top-ins so far.
You know, I can see the association with golf and pizza. Maybe just
Yes, of
particularly
course.
mini golf, like also even like mini golf and pizza have just like, I guess, inundated themselves to me.
Right, so third boss fight. I don't know. This guy seems
He's a little familiar.
eerily similar in a legally distinct kind of way.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
not sure why.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
So, as I've said before, usually this game doesn't have a ton of RNG, just heavily scripted boss fights. Noise is kind of an exception here. This guy is actually kind of, well, rather random. He has 4 different attacks, and depending on which one he decides to use and where, you have to react properly. Some of them might take a little bit longer than others. On the second phase of the fight, you also have those little enemies there, Noisies. You can toss them at Noise to significantly speed up the fight. However, these enemies can also die to Noise's own attacks. And if you are trying to use them as makeshift projectiles, you have to make sure that you don't just kill them off by mistake. Otherwise, you're just leaving time on the table. It's very... doing this fight quickly is very difficult.
Yeah, I can't express how hard it is to get a really good noise fight.
And Pasta Blank did get a couple of nice 1-2s back there. So
Hey,
a bit of a close call, but we made it.
that was fine enough.
And that's what we live for.
Some would argue this is phase 3.
Yeah, of course.
We're just gonna grab our key and head on out. And yeah, we're heading into floor 4. We're already a little bit past the halfway point. And the next level, yep, it's gonna be Pig City. Now, so far, okay, so in the whole game, we can afford to miss 9 of the 95 top-ins in the whole game and still reach the ending. So far, we've skipped 6, and this is the level in which we're going to be skipping 3 more, basically rounding out the whole top-in route. There's 5 taxis in this level. Each one leads to a different top-in. We're gonna be skipping 1 and 2, because we don't have time for that. We will be riding Taxi 3 because that's just part of the route for the level. You need to go through here to reach the end. Get arrested, I guess. Yeah!
Yeah, the boys.
I know we missed him.
It's been too long, man.
And we're gonna be skipping taxi number 4. Now, in any percent, we'd usually be riding taxis 1 and 2 because Pepino fast, and we would be skipping taxis 4 and 5 because Gustavo slow. But it just so happens that we're actually gonna be riding taxi number 5 here because Jerome is also here. So since we have to come here anyway, might as well grab the top-in. It's kind of slow, but we're coming here anyway, so sure, just get here, you nerd.
All right.
We're gonna grab the top-in and head on out.
And that is most of the level pretty much skipped. I hope you enjoyed Pig City.
Yeah, it's somewhat similar to golf in which there's usually like a number of rooms you'd go into to grab top-ins. But in the speedrun, you kind of just make a mad dash for the end and just don't think about it too much. And this is sadly going to be the last we're going to be seeing of Gustavo.
No.
And mind you, if it wasn't for the fact that we need to ride taxi number 5, all you'd see of Gustavo in this level is like the trek from jail to the end and then back. Like, we're not even doing either of the taxis, so it's just Consider yourselves lucky. All right.
+1 for true ending enjoyers.
So true.
Jelly-filled
All
donut.
right. And then we're just gonna right stack back. And from here, it's just a straight shot to the entrance of the level. Nothing too wonky going on.
To be fair to Reno, if I saw a pizza driving a taxi, I'd be a little bit concerned as well.
I would also
Especially-
be freaking out. I can't blame him.
Yeah, I can't blame
Yeah.
him.
How do they get past the
Especially
DMV?
if it's by Snotty.
He deserved it.
Absolutely. All right, so next up, Happybot Factory. This is a very tricky level to play well. Very tight, very claustrophobic, but I'm sure Impost is going to be doing fine. Might even see a couple fancy tricks along the way.
This is definitely one of the more technical levels in the game, Pino-wise.
It's a little awkward to control, but I think that has to do with some of the level gimmicks. Like the conveyor belts can definitely catch you off guard.
Yeah, if you run with or against them, you can build up speed slower or faster, and it can throw off your muscle memory up until this point. It's tricky. It's a very tricky level to play well. Very nice. Just dodging that trap there with just sheer speed. And we're also going to be dodging that pizza stomper, but not that one. Right, so the transformation for this level is you get turned into a pizza box. You move pretty fast along the ground, and then you can carry over that speed into the air. Just keep on flapping. And it's already at the end of the level. The Peapod is a very short level.
It's tricky, but not very long. So at least we don't have to be in this hell for too long.
Yeah, it's just difficult. And very and unintuitive at a couple points.
But it's still fun.
Oh yeah.
This level gets too much hate, man.
Right, we're gonna be doing here. We're not actually gonna go into the level. We're just taking this little route there because it's a little bit faster than going the other way around to the left.
I just like
Yeah,
when
the
you're...
secret can be very notorious for a lot of players who accidentally enter it. And it's not exactly the shortest secret in the game.
Oh yeah. But I mean, just hug the left wall and you'll be fine. As long as you don't panic too much, you'll be fine. Now we're gonna make a little detour here to grab the secret, since that's what this category is all about. That's up the up door, but oh well. And yeah, that's the level done. All right. You guys are in for a treat, because usually in any percent, there's this one level that we just skip outright because it's faster to do so.
Oh,
Here
great
you actually can
heavens.
actually see, oh shit!
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's a funny sewer level.
Funny sewer level.
Now, the reason this level gets skipped is because just getting through it from start to end, without even without regarding the top ends, it's just the longest level in the game. It's just very lengthy.
Like, at best, it's at least 20 seconds slower than the next longest
Yeah.
level. So this is a
Yeah,
true
it
ending exclusive right here.
Well,
It just-
I mean,
it just has-
there's also 100% and 101%.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, since we do have to go into all of the into every level regardless to grab the treasures, and we have to come here anyway, we're actually going to be getting most of the top ends here. Like a lot of them are just right along the way. No, wait, we're getting all of the top ends. Yeah, it's just
we're not skipping anything in this level.
Yeah.
it's not getting the top ends that takes time. It's just the level itself from start to end.
Oh, almost got 5 taunts there. It means nothing if you get 5 taunts, but I like to go for 5 taunts.
It's swag Imposta. It means everything in this setting.
It's a massive time save, actually. I changed my mind.
Very nice super jump, by the way. Nailed it. And now, oh yeah, that was
I love
good.
the decals and the walls. They're quite silly in this level.
Funny graffiti.
There's a lot of just great stuff that you can find by just looking in the backgrounds of any of the levels.
Oh, very nice. Another kind of tricky, precise. It takes a little bit of time, but it's nice. Little detour for that top in there, and just carry on forward.
I just love the animations on the top right TV. That when you get when you turn into the pizza box, you had a monocle on. Then the other time you look like your Pizza Hut from Spaceballs.
It's there's so much good stuff.
I know.
And it's just great.
Live Pepino reaction.
You can tell Big Pig had a lot of
reaction
fun.
indeed.
It's very necessary to the HUD. This game just has so much style to it. It is a joy
And
to
it
play.
has no breaks.
No breaks at all.
Especially in a speedrun. As you might have been able to tell so far, there's no downtime. I'm just struggling to keep up on the commentary side of things, just try to cover everything.
It's a commentary speedrun on top of an actual game speedrun.
Only speedruns today, boys. And gaps. And everything between. And beyond. Yes.
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 This nice little super jump here. Always very satisfying. This level is very fun.
Shoutouts to Nina for asking me to say that she is very awesome on stream. On a completely unrelated note, Nina's pretty awesome.
True.
It is pretty
Shout out to
awesome.
Nina.
Hey! Alright, almost done out of this. Almost out of this level. Yes.
This sewer level.
That is definitely the word I was looking for the whole time. Uh-huh. Yeah. Right. Rest in peace, Snotty.
He will not be missed.
Last level of the floor, Refrigerator. Or if you want to be fancy, you can call it the full name, Refrigerator, Freezerator.
Freezerator, refrigerator, RRF, whatever you want to call it.
For a moment, I thought we were gonna turn this into a spelling bee or something.
Honestly, if somebody put this entire title name in a spelling bee, I guarantee you somebody might have a problem with it.
Why? I mean, it's just you ought to be able to
It might be a trick question.
Anyway, this is one of the. This is a pretty cool level.
Literally.
You have upon. Anyway, you have a few jetpacks lying around here and there. They pop you up into the air and you preserve your speed. Sometimes you can do fancy stuff like this in some of the rooms. Nice.
The taunt for the fans.
But there are also times where there's ice blocks on the way, and you actually need those jetpacks to be able to break them. In this room, there's a bunch of ice blocks that we won't be able to break yet. But yeah, we're just kind of close to the end. There's also a bunch of snowmen. It's not really a gimmick to the level. They're just a pain. They're very painful to deal with. They slide around all over the place. They hurt you if you run into them from the front. Sometimes it's just ugh. But we've got the movement figured out to just weave right through.
Yeah, snowmen are the only enemy in the game that don't get scared by Pepino running really fast. Which honestly, I respect that.
Actually, it's not the only one. There's also the tanks in war.
True. Which is a level.
Coming up later. Alright, so from the game that gives you a super jump that is kind of like the Shine Spark from Super Metroid, we have the Satan's Choice Pizza that basically gives you screw jump. The screw attack and space jump. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, as per usual when you eat spicy food.
Oh yeah, you just get to fly around all over the place and just murder everyone on contact.
That's why I don't.
Yeah,
That's exactly why I don't eat spicy food.
Not a lot of people like the superpowers.
Right now, with this power up, Peppino's actually just completely invincible. Like, you cannot get hurt. And even if you don't even have to dash into enemies to kill them, you can just walk right up to them and they just keel over and die. So, well, maybe not keel over. They kind of just get sent into the stratosphere or whatever it is they're flying off.
I'm surprised
you
you
can also
haven't
fly.
melted the stage yet.
In time.
In due time.
I love that part. All right. So all the levels in floor, it's boss battle time, and this time it's Peppino Spaghetti. I think.
Close enough.
I don't know. This guy seems a little bit off. I don't know. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah, I mean, anyway.
He's basically like
this
the
is-
Waluigi of Peppino.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's a good way of putting it, actually.
I suppose, yeah. Alright, so, playing this fight casually is pretty straightforward. And if you want to speedrun it, you can nerd out for ages. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of specifics going on with this fight. There's a lot of very specific things you can do to land multiple hits and try to save time. Like, manipulate fake Peppino's positioning, try to like bait him into doing certain things, hope that you get a little bit lucky here and there. So yeah, if you really want to optimize the fight, God.
There's more RNG here at play than you'd think. But it's not, usually in full game runs, it's not super, it's not really a big deal. We just kind of go with the flow.
I mean, in individual level, in individual level runs for this boss battle, you can grind it for ages, and it might still not be perfect. Now, in the first phase, we have to wait out some of these attacks. On the second phase, there's not really any waiting at all. We're just gonna wail on them. The second phase of the fight goes by much faster than the first.
Like a big fighting game combo if you get it right. Phase 2 is very fun.
Kinda, yeah. And now we're just gonna run away. Don't worry about the horrific amalgamation on the left side. We're just gonna zoom on by. We're actually gonna slow down at a couple sections of this tunnel, because if you don't slow down, you actually bonk into the wall in front of you because you're just going too fast. So yeah. And that's the penultimate boss down.
That is floor 4.
And heading over
bonk.
to floor 5. Now, this next floor only has 3 proper levels, but each of them is tough.
But man, are they all bangers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Most people's favorites are literally all in 4-5, and you know, my personal favorite right here is Pizza Scare.
Same.
It is a very satisfying stage to do well.
Oh,
If memory serves, okay, so next level it's Pizza Scare. It's kind of like, initially in early development it was supposed to be like a remixed version of Pizza Escape, but now it's basically just a completely different level. They have nothing in common besides the name, I guess. gimmick of this level. You have a number of ghosts. Usually you're not able to kill them unless you get temporary power-up from the priests right there. Right, yeah, that's it. While you have it, you actually can't take any damage.
You get to kill the ghosts.
Kill the ghosts!
Yo,
Speaking of ghosts, there's also the ghost of a King Cheese Slime over here that is going to trigger a number of traps as you get close. Some of them are just there to deal damage and get in your way. Some of them you actually kind of need to progress. Now, in this next room coming up, there's actually a trap that usually prevents you from just hitting the escape. You have to do like a little bit of a puzzle there, but if you run through this room fast enough, you can just bypass the trap and just trigger the escape way sooner than you're supposed to. It saves like
20 seconds?
A lot. It saves
a
a
lot of time, yes.
It's the second biggest skip in the game.
Yeah, like usually this game doesn't have a lot of tricks. It's just playing well. But this would be like one of 2 exceptions. And it saves 20 seconds, but you can save a lot more time by just getting better with it, just polishing your movement.
And at the very least, all these huge tricks minus I forgot drum. All these huge tricks minus the golf skip is not the golf skip. I'm sorry. All these tricks minus the waste yard skip is not very difficult overall. Like with just a little bit of practice, you can get them pretty consistently, even just starting out.
Nice. Sure.
Very nice.
I think this is where we discovered Outdoor at first. I can't remember. I do know that it was a buddy of mine that brought it to my attention. So, shout out to Scott.
So guys, are we gonna sing the elephant in the room here?
Are you guys ready for Ready?
I think I am.
Yeah.
But are you ready for Freddy though?
Maybe.
Freddy Fazbear.
Well, too bad.
I think
Well, too bad. Freddy Fazbear is not in this level. It's just different animatronics. Don't Make a Sound is the quote-unquote stealth level of the game. Although, as you can see, Impossible Blank is not really bothering to be very stealthy. He's just being very
I
fast.
mean, if you go fast enough,
yeah.
they can't ever see you.
It's true.
So, it's true.
It's very true.
Faster than the naked eye.
Leave no witnesses.
Actually, they're animatronics. They don't have naked eyes. They have electronic eyes. Yeah, as you can see, there's a number of guards. If they spot you, they throw a countdown, and you have that long to either kill them or get away. But for a lot of these rooms, Impossible Blank is gonna choose get away. Like in some of these rooms, they don't even get a chance to throw the alarm, and even when they do, the animatronic doesn't even have time to catch up and get you. If the animatronic does get you, it does like a quote-unquote jump scare. It's not very jump scary at all, but
A very
it does
goofy jump
lose
scare.
you. It's a very significant time loss.
We may
So
see it
we'd
in this
still
run.
rather avoid it.
We do
I
have
will
to
say-
get through these little close call sections that are very intentional to make you scared.
Playing with fire.
Very scary level.
Little detour for Jerome. Right, so much for stealth. We're just gonna...
Gun.
We got a gun.
Gun.
We have a gun
Oh
now.
my goodness.
Yeah, like... I think I can guess why... Oh, nice! Only one shot. Usually you take 2 to get rid of all the animatronics and go down safely, but Imposter is just feeling himself today.
We gotta go
Nice.
fast.
Yeah. Really fast.
Yeah, I think I can imagine why FNAF doesn't actually have guns. They would be very short games otherwise, I would imagine.
It'd truly only be one night at Freddy's.
Right. Yeah. At this point, you were basically just home free.
Yeah, minus that guy, which is very chokeable. Don't choke there.
Oh yeah. At the speed you're going, that shot is actually very precise. The margin of error is not very big at all. All right.
Oh, hey, it's someone's
Time for
birthday.
the
Now-
fan favorite.
Heading into the last level of the run, we're gonna go a little bit to the right so we can like spawn Mr. Stick and buy from him later and not have a war
Gun.
gun. And now we have a whole level that is basically just one big escape section. There's a few timers along the way to get yourself a little bit of time, but Pasta is actually gonna skip some of them because he's too cool for that. You've seen the rockets from before, but yeah, there's not really. Little
Jerome.
detour for Jerome. We do care about him. You have some mines here and there. You have some
This level
of the
is
more dangerous
just-
enemies in the game.
This level is very
some-
intense in a casual playthrough. It's the first time that they
Oh,
actually
yeah.
like really truly make you have to go fast.
Yeah.
A lot of people name this as their favorite level in the whole game, and I would say that it's mostly because it gives you a taste of what it's like to play this game going fast, which, if you ask me, is where this game shines the most by a mile. It's just so good to make it all. It's just so good to make it all flow together.
Yes, this level is very
Wow.
fast as opposed to the other levels, of course, which
Yeah,
are also
yeah.
they just aren't as fast, I suppose.
I mean, golf. Can you count golf? Kind of. That level is like 40 seconds long.
Somehow faster than John Gutter.
Well,
And that one is just like barely over a minute. Oh yeah, we have fake pepinos here as well. Don't worry about it.
there's surely no
We're just gonna...
lore significant reason for that.
Absolutely
Truly.
not. Like, the lore of this game is an absolute mess. I pray... my condolences to anybody genuinely trying to make sense out of this mess. I'm almost to the end.
Nice.
We're gonna grab the pineapple. Fail the instant turn, sadly.
Unfortunate. Pretty clean.
And now, with every level done, and with just enough money to buy the last door, we're gonna be heading into the final boss of the run, Pizza Face. So we're just gonna make our way through this walkway, and we might have caught him in the middle of.
He is prepared for
Oh.
battle.
He is prepared.
Oh, oh.
I don't know. He seemed in a little bit of a rush. But okay. All right. So this is a long fight. Starting with phase 1, if you've played Super Mario World, you might see some similarities, but don't be fooled. The longer this phase goes on, he spawns more and more enemies along the room, and they can be completely random enemies from all over the game. Sometimes they're cheese limes, which are pretty harmless. Sometimes they are like pizza ninjas, which are just a pain to like keep track of. If you start slipping and you let too many enemies spawn, phase 1 can get really ugly really fast. Luckily, Impossible Blank just nailed it. Very good stuff.
That's
And
definitely the most important phase to get down right, because
Yeah.
it really is not an exaggeration. That phase can spiral so hard.
also, hello, Pizza Head. Yeah, second phase is pretty straightforward. We're just gonna shoot bullets. We do have a charge attack, but if we get better DPS if we just spam the smaller bullets, so that's what we're gonna do. We're just spamming away. maybe dodging the attacks here and there when... Yeah, we're just...
Oh, it's Brick.
Oh, yeah. Being tossed around as a projectile this time, probably not with his consent, but we're through. Right.
What a set piece with Peppino's Pizza right in the background. Knowing what's on the line, what's dear to you and your heart.
Oh, yeah. And, okay, so, just a mere suggestion of a boss rush. No, Peppino's had enough. He's done.
This is Peppino's phase 2.
Yeah, this is Peppino's phase 2.
So, the good thing is that you're not actually doing the whole boss fights all over again. As you can see from Peppino, absolutely shredding these health bars. They're actually like way shorter than usual, so this is gonna go by pretty quickly. And this time we got help from Gustavo as a makeshift projectile, I guess. But you know, okay. Usually you would have to dodge Vigilante's attacks and then throw Gustavo at him to make an opening and then beat him up. But the thing is, we're gonna be pushing him around a little bit to stall for time and allow for Gustavo to respawn. So Vigilante just get him bullied to death again. This man cannot catch a break.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
It is. I'm genuinely sad. It's depressing. Noise is just gonna get memed on. One thing to note, and I see a lot of people missing this the first time around, you can still fight the bosses normally. You don't have to use Gustavo, but you can do it to really speed up the fight and just land these 1-2 punches and just, yeah, you can see just decimating. Alright, last stretch. This final part of the fight is not actually terribly difficult. Pizza Head has like 3 attacks and they're all pretty straightforward to dodge. But after such a long boss fight up until this point, it can act as one last composure check for anybody trying to either beat this for the first time or trying to P-rank this for the first time. It can get pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah, even I mess it up from time to time.
But Impossible Blank's got this under control. He's just gonna climb that wall that is totally there. Just hang out and wait for his opening. And with that, that's the final boss down, but we're not out of the woods yet. For now, we're just gonna enjoy this cutscene. Just
with the power of pizza.
With the power of pizza.
Oh my God.
Yeah! And we're just gonna quickly restart level so we can skip some hub.
Yeah, we
Okay,
unfortunately
so
don't get to see Pizza Face just stuck in the ground. It's very hilarious.
And now we're on the final level of the game, the Crumbling Tower of Pizza. If you paid attention during the hub, you might have noticed that there was a few escape pickups for some reason. That's because the whole tower is kind of part of like this one big level. And we're gonna be exiting through that level on our way out as we just get out alive before the tower crumbles. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hey, Slot, remember that time you played through the whole game and you saw all these gimmicks?
Yes, of course. I saw all of them.
I remember this.
I mean...
Oh, how far we've come.
That joke is funnier in any percent because you actually skip one of the levels. Like, if this is true ending, it doesn't quite ring the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just gonna be working our way down and occasionally dropping by each of the hubs. And yeah, I think we're nearing the end of the run. Time is gonna be coming up in like a couple minutes from now. And I'm just happy to have had a chance to just nerd out over this game. It's just, it's just
Oh,
really
let's
cool,
go.
dude. Oh, nice!
Ooh.
That
uppercut is kind of tight, and it saves a decent bit of time. So
I believe that jump over the banana is like a 2-frame window. So it's always nice to get. And it saves a pretty good chunk of time.
good stuff. Just nailing it.
We got to play at least one of the golf courses, right?
Oh yeah, a lot of people think that this last one bit of golf is optional, and they try to skip it, and then they have to go back when they realize that it's not optional. Always funny. They wouldn't, they said. They all said.
I like how when they try shooting and you miss all, he just puts his hands out like nuts, you know?
Yeah, he's got some business with you.
Oh man, like this run has been really good.
Yes.
This has been really nice.
We'll see what kind of time we get, but I expect it to be pretty good.
This is the final
Run,
stretch.
Pepino, go!
What a fitting last few rooms to the game. It's always so hype watching the timer count up or down or whatever.
And the time is coming up right now.
And time.
And
Nice.
Time.
Nice.
excellent stuff,
Let's
Impasta.
go.
Nice.
Yeah,
you
really
did
well done.
Insane, Impasa.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
All right, what's the time?
do you go by in-game or do you go by the actual one?
We go by actual real time.
Okay,
The
so
in-game
okay,
timer is kind of
okay,
funky, and we do some pausing along the way, which further messes it up. But yeah,
Looks like a 1:14:03.
Oh,
That is a very nice time indeed.
that is a very fast time.
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for showcasing that incredible Pizza Tower run. If people were watching this and like, I want to learn more about this, or I want to see like the 80% or the 100%, where could they go to learn more information, to see more about the runners, to at least get more invested in the Pizza Tower speedruns?
Just head on over to the leaderboard on speedrun.com. We have a link to the Discord, which is where most of us hang out. You also have a number of it's all on most of it is on the leaderboard, but a lot of the discussion does happen on the Discord server. So if you want to hang out and find out more, that's definitely the place to be.
Yeah, we're a very welcoming community, and we highly encourage anybody that loves a game such as this to partake in what you can. It's a very fun speed run. I've grown a very big passion for it.
Yeah,
And we'd be more than glad to welcome anyone with a genuine interest to learn how it goes. It's just,
yeah, it's always fun to see new strats and the crazy things that people come up with this game. And the tasks that's being made as well.
yeah, we do have a task in the works. So that's. I'm really looking forward to being able to show that off eventually. Shout out to Vexter. He's insane.
It's
Great.
gonna be legendary once it comes out.
Oh, I'm excited. I want to show it off already. It's
It is beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, of course. Any other shout outs that you all want to do?
Shout outs to
Shout out to
Ray for being a
Impossible.
nerd.
Hey! Shout out to Soaring Sloth and XBC.
Yeah.
Shout out to Impossible.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for showcasing that amazing run. Hey, if you missed that run and you're like, I just got here and I missed it, don't fret. You can always head on over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/gamesdonequick, where you can check out that run or any other runs from the Hotfix show, or anything from like Flame for Towels, from the Frame for Towels, from any of our specials, and of course, any of our mainline GDQ events. And hey, while you're at YouTube also, if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button on the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to check us out live here, twitch.tv/gamesdonequick. And of course, finally, your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel help support Games Done Quick Hotfix. Please consider subscribing if you enjoy the daily speedrunning content. While the bargain bin is going to be closing its doors for tonight, do not fret. We have another amazing showcase coming up. It's going to be Express Lane while we get things set up for that next show, and amazing stuff. You do not want to miss that. It's a great time to get a snack, get some water, use the restroom, do all of that fancy stuff while we get things set up, and we'll be right back right here with Express Lane.